Well, baseball is back. Your San Diego Padres are in second place and looking up at the Los Angeles Dodgers of Japan, who have just defeated the Chicago Cubs 4-1 in the opening game of the regular season. And we need the Cubs to lose games. Fine by me. Craig Counsell trying to get cute again, takes your pitcher out with a no-hitter and dealing and says, no, let's go to the bullpen. I mean, it's baseball. I have a few beefs with my beloved game of baseball today, and I think you're going to hear them. Welcome into Ben and Woods 97.3, The Fan. Yeah, man.
Is this not the Dodgers post-game show?
It's not.
Will we not be hearing from Ben Kasparius in a couple of minutes? What's going on here?
No Tanner Scott this morning. But, Dodgers did what everybody expected them to do and went out and beat the Cubs this morning in the first game of the season. They'll play one more game. Then they'll be about a week off, essentially, and then we'll get back to all 30 teams playing next Thursday. But, man, it did give me the little jolt this morning when I woke up, and I did not get up right at game time. I woke up in like the third inning, and so watched most of it, listened to it on the drive in, and then we just finished it here in the studio. But look, it's so good to be back. It's so good to have baseball back. It gave me the tingles this morning, even if it was watching the Dodgers win. So anyway, Edgar says it's the first game. He walked a couple. Good move. Stop it, Woods. All right, whatever. I mean, obviously it didn't work. It's 4 innings. This is where baseball is these days. Hey, man, give me 4 innings on your opening day start. I know you walked a couple guys, but you're done after that. I think if there's 65 pitches, something like that. I don't know. Your number one starter, game one, let the guy throw. He's in his home country. Just let him throw. What are you doing?
It's also only March 18th.
It's true.
So
I mean,
I can sort of see not being built up fully for the season when you have to start a week and a half early.
Didn't our guys go like 3 innings last year?
Yeah, I think they were. Well, I mean, they were ineffective, I think.
Yeah,
so
ineffective 3 innings. So listen, this is where baseball is, and I'm telling you, we have a huge, huge problem in the game of baseball. Huge. And it doesn't start at the big league level. I'll tell you all about that in a second. I'm Woodsy. Paul Reindel's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning to you, Benjamin.
Good morning, Woodsy. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. I was very excited yesterday. I had my first the rain has just murdered our little league season. It's just killed it. Crushed it. Moving games around. Played yesterday at 4:00. So we get out to the field, and I got like 11 kids, 12 kids yesterday. And we were playing another team. Now I looked across the field and I went, oh, all right. I mean, I got big kids. They're all roughly the same age, right? You're talking the oldest kid on my team is in first grade, right? They have first graders, kindergartners, and we roll. And you could look across the field and go, eesh, okay, there's a little size disparity. I got some big kind of lumbering dudes on my team, and we're pretty good. We can catch the ball. We can throw the ball. So I said, all right, well, let's see how this goes. We have there's just a huge problem right now in Little League. I tweeted about it last night. I said, here we are at the highest level of baseball, Major League Baseball. And these guys sit in a room and they go, it's too long. This is too long. These games are 2 hours and 10 minutes. We got to shorten these games. We're losing people's attention. So go down to Little League, where this is where kids are supposed to run onto the field and go, I love this. I'm all in. This is fantastic. Because think about it. My kids play football, they play basketball, they play soccer. They're moving all the time. I mean, it is very little stagnant standing around playing with sunflowers. Very little, if any, really. I mean, honestly, unless you're subbed out of one of those games, you're moving. So it hit me like a ton of bricks last night. So the other team, man, they're little kids, dude. They're tiny little kids. They weren't quite ready for machine pitch. So do some math. You're good at math, Ben.
Sure.
9 kids in their lineup.
9 kids.
Call it 7 swings apiece.
Okay.
And then on the 8th swing, they get to hit off a tee.
Okay.
So I said to the coach before, let's do, if we get 3 outs, we'll come off and then, let's try to play base. We won't keep score, obviously. We're not going to be swiping bags or anything like that. But we get 3 outs, you're done. If your kid gets out running to first base, he's out. Send him back to the dugout. They said no to all that. So they're going to bat their 9 guys. Each kid gets 7 swings plus 1 off the tee. How many is that per half inning?
So that would be 72 swings per half inning.
They didn't hit one ball off the machine.
So 63 swings and misses, and then 9 swings off the tee.
72
total.
72 swings in a half inning. I got 6-year-old and 7. They're standing out there like this, falling asleep. And I'm sitting there going, my kids are losing interest. This can't be fun for these dudes. No one's getting any action except off the tee. So by the third inning, which we only played three, I said to the coach, hey, why don't you just have them hit off the tee? Just hit off the. That's not boomer, Paulie. I'm trying to make kids fall in love with.
This has kind of been boomer.
It's not, dude. It's not.
Well, what are the rules of the league? Needs to have rules. Do they come off after 3 outs or not?
The league says
that or not?
The league says you can work it out amongst yourselves before the deal.
There can't be a negotiation on the rules of the game before the start of every game. And you might need a boomer filter from me, but I'm going to die on that hill.
Bro, so
you cannot have to negotiate the rules of the game before every single game with every other team before you play.
And again, I just don't see what benefit it is to have your kids go up, swing and miss 7 times, not get close to a pitch, and then hit off the tee. And then, so the ground ball to second, my guy picks it up, throws it to first, gets him out by 10 feet. Guess what? No, stay on first base. No, you're out. You're out. Why are we so afraid to have our children fail at a game that failure is ingrained in?
Those were the rules in T-ball, right? They
we're not
stay
playing
out there.
T-ball.
Yeah, but now you're on the next level. There should be a new set of rules that everybody abides by, that when you sign up for the league, hey, these are the rules. Let's play the rules.
Once your kid is out of T-ball, let's start teaching these little dudes baseball. Guess what happens in baseball? You get out. Guess what happens in baseball? You hit a seed at a guy. He catches it. And you're like, son of a bitch. And you're out. You don't get to run the bases after that. Guess what happens if you swing and miss 3 times? You strike out. It's such a part of baseball. All these dads don't want to see little Johnny go up there and look like a buffoon.
Now,
so they're making it worse.
There will be some kids, as you said.
I've got them on my team.
That will maybe all season never make contact, never get on base.
I was one of them.
They won't want to play anymore, though.
Right.
And they don't want to lose kids at that age because they didn't have any enjoyment or fun because they never got to run the bases. They never got to make contact. And they
get the tee. They get the tee.
So they do get the
tee.
Okay.
But not after 7 swings and misses. Then we bring the tee out. Hits the tee, back to the ball back to the pitcher. Pitcher catches it, throws him out of first base. Just stay there, bud, and run. My kids are like excited because they got an out. My kids are excited because they got an out, and they're like, why is he still on first base? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea why. Because dad's afraid to see his kid walk back to the dugout. Why are we hiding? Why are we hiding from these kids the essence of the game?
I tend to probably agree with Ben a little bit. Like, you don't want to lose kids to the game.
But you know what? You know how you're losing kids? Standing and playing defense like this. Oh my God. Paulie, the half innings are 30 minutes long.
I mean, look,
that's how you lose.
It's easy for me to be devil's advocate because I don't have kids. I don't have to sit there through that crap for 4 hours. But it does feel like whether it's T-ball or machine pitch, that's pre-baseball still. Until it's live pitching, whether it's from a coach or a kid, that's when it becomes, I think, more real.
But okay,
because it is still T-ball in the sense that if you have seven swings, you bring out the T. So it's still basically T-ball.
Correct.
Or machine pitch.
I'll agree. 7 is too many.
I kind of lump them in together. And then when you have kids pitching, now it's like, okay, now it's time to go.
I mean, you're losing, and like Marco says, you're losing kids that early on defense. I mean, my guys, I looked out. One kid was making dirt piles. I wasn't even mad at him. I couldn't get mad at him. Hey, pay attention, bro. I couldn't.
5 swings seems like a much better number.
How about, I got an idea for you. How about 3 swings? Since that's what you get in baseball, in the game of baseball.
There's a whole song about it.
There's a whole song about it. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball.
Yeah, but in baseball,
game.
they don't have machine pitching or tees.
Paulie, I think it's a philosophical read. I don't want to win. I don't care about my team winning at this age. I couldn't care less. I'm not sending them for extra bags. I want these kids to fall in love with this game. I want there to be action in this game. And if the kids aren't hitting, I felt terrible for that other team. I felt horrible, but I also felt horrible for my guys that are standing out there pulling their puds because there's nothing to do. No action, zero going, oh my God, swing and a miss, 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 swing and a miss.
Is, there's going to be games, especially if you're like an outfielder, where you may go innings with nothing to do. And that's part of the game as well.
My outfielders are going to go a season with nothing to do. And we're in this, it's just in that weird spot. But it's like basketball, Paulie. When we're playing basketball, we don't let 9 kids go on the court, right? They play 5-on-5. They call fouls. You miss shots. Oh, count that one because he hit the rim. Why is baseball the one where they're like, no, let's spoon feed it to them? Bro, if your kid strikes out, good. It's a part of this game. The best in the game. Aaron Judge struck out 170 times last year. Your kid can be Aaron Judge.
And there will be tears.
And there will be.
Happens.
My son hits barrels at kids and gets out and is like, I go, hey, did you hit a barrel there? Yes. Then you did your job. You're good. You're good. Let's not spoon feed it to these kids. Again, if you're running hard down the line and they get you out, back to the dugout you go, buddy. They got you out. Why are we so afraid and shielding our children from failure? And it's driving me nuts. Again, please don't get this twisted. This is not I want to win. I want to beat the crap out of these teams. I couldn't care less. I want every kid on that team. I want every kid on the other team to also love the game as much as I do. And we are it is a crisis for Little League right now. I mean, a crisis. If I had run video of this, you guys would have seen my team in the first for 30 minutes. 30 minutes standing in the field in the half inning. 30. And they're dying.
But don't you think that's going to cause kids to not love the game if they can't hit the ball or have any fun at all?
So, what's fun about striking out 7 times? So we have 7 swing and misses.
Have more chances to get on base. I don't know. Does both soccer team call offsides? Because that's soccer.
No, they don't call offsides.
Why not? They need to learn the game.
No, it's different though. But they also don't give them goals when they don't score goals.
I'm just pushing back. I don't care.
No, but I need you to understand that it's not a win-loss, make it perfect, ride these kids hard. I'm saying we got to find a solution to get some action on the field. How about an idea? Hit it off the tee. If you know damn well, hey, our team cannot hit off the machine. We're going to hit off the tee if that's cool with you. Done. More action for everybody. Better, getting these kids. Hey, we actually have 2 kids that can mash off the machine. We'll use the machine for them. The other guys, we're going to let them hit it off the tee.
So I think you just hit on it, and that's where I was going to go next, because I think you make some really strong points about a lot of kids being able to handle failure and needing to learn how to handle failure.
It's number one, man.
Earlier in their lives. But I will push back a little bit and say, ultimately, every kid is a little bit different.
Yep.
And while maybe, 70, 80% of them probably would benefit from your course of action, there's probably 15 or 20% that need a softer touch and probably could thrive with a little more just nurturing and getting the ability to go run the bases.
You're talking about 2 different things. You're talking about 2 different things. I got 3 kids on my team that also didn't hit one off the machine yesterday. I got 3 out of 12 or whatever I had. 3 didn't hit it, and I nurtured those kids. I love those kids. I'll work with those kids. And I brought the tee out for them, and they hit the ball and they ran. And one kid hit the ball hard and they got him out. I said, go back to the dugout. Guess why? Because you got out. You got out. You're out. We are so afraid for our kids to make an out on the baseball field. Why? If you really dig down, I want my kid to fail, especially if he's going to play baseball. You can't play this game and succeed 100% of the time. You can't play this game and succeed 40% of the time. Really? You succeed 40% of the time, you're Ted Williams. You know what I'm saying? So we have to change change the way it's going. There's got to be more action for these dudes, because sitting out there for 30 minutes with nary a ball hit anywhere in the infield just kills you. Especially, it's why we're losing kids to soccer, we're losing kids to flag football, and we're losing kids to basketball. And it's an epidemic, man. It really is, and it breaks my heart. I was so upset after this game last night, and it wasn't. We scored probably 20 runs, but I didn't care about that. I'm worried about the kids on the other team having a bad experience, and I'm worried about my kids having a bad experience and being bored out of their minds. I don't want baseball to be boring at all for them. I want them to love it. And this is the time where we have to show them how fun this game can be. Picking a ground ball, making a throw to first, for a 6-year-old, there is no better feeling. Bo caught a fly ball. You should have seen him. He was beaming. Like, that's what we need more of in the game. We just need more action.
Yeah. Now, it doesn't take anything away from Bo. If he catches that fly ball,
No.
he knows he got the guy out.
Right.
If the kid's
Then
still
there's
running
the kid
around.
standing on first base. It's just
doesn't really hurt Bo if that happens. He still gets the credit for making a nice catch, and you know what he did.
It's just tough, dude. I just want them to love the game, and we need to stop spoon feeding them that, hey, man, like, we need to let them. What I'm telling you is, like, we need to let them know, hey, man, you didn't come through there, and that's okay. I love you anyway. You tried really hard. Get up and try really hard again. You're going to have more opportunities to get up and try hard. And we're going to keep practicing. You did great. That's what I'm talking about. Just get some more action on the field. But I feel like it's an epidemic right now in Little League, and I think we need to find a way to change it somehow.
It is interesting. I haven't thought about it in, I'm 34, so I don't know, 27 years. But, like, Little League was, like, my third favorite sport up until it got competitive.
Right.
Like, soccer was more fun and basketball was more fun.
Yeah.
Until it got competitive.
Because you
like,
got
kid pitching.
Because you got to do something.
Real base length. You know what I mean? Like,
stealing
the real
stuff.
game.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
It's a good point. Kids love competition.
They do. They absolutely do.
Most of them and they understand the difference between real competition
and
fake competition.
My heart absolutely broke for the other kids. I hope they didn't have a bad experience. I didn't try to do anything to give them a bad experience, but man, I thought about, like, we need to switch it. And I don't know if it's a coach flipping it underhand from 5 feet. Maybe that'll change. Or let them hit off the tee, man. Let them hit off the tee and then run the bags.
All right. Speaking of kids, did you know that 77% of parents with minor children don't have a will? Yeah, you've got little kids. You're probably a younger parent. You're not thinking about what would happen if something were to happen to you, but it could. And you don't want the state then deciding what happens to your kids. This is all very avoidable by putting together a simple document at trustandwill.com to make your wishes known, to assign guardians if something should happen to you, and then you don't have to think about it again, Woods. You just have that document in place. Hopefully you'll never need it, but you definitely do not want to need it and not have it.
It is quite a load off, man. It really is, to know that I have it done. Make sure you have that trust as well. Keep your family out of probate court. Costs 3 to 7% of the estate's value, and legal fees can take 9 to 18 months to settle. Not something you want to put your family through after they've already lost you. So make sure you get the trust as well as the will, Benjamin.
Go to trustandwill.com. Use our new code FAN. F-A-N. You're going to get 20% off at checkout. That's, again, just FAN at checkout after you make a simple process of answering a few questions. And then you'll have your estate documents shipped out to you. You put them in a nice lockbox somewhere, keep them at your house. Hopefully you never need them, but you will have them. You will have that peace of mind that your family is taken care of by going to trustandwill.com. That's trustandwill.com. We'll be back to set the menu for this morning's program right after a check of traffic with Kelly Danick here on 97.3 The Fan. We'll get into some Padres talk coming up here. You probably heard 1 minute after the show ended yesterday, Mike Schilt named his starting pitcher for opening day, Michael King. So we will react to that 20 hours later.
9:58 yesterday.
In our next segment. Fantastic. But, that was his schedule yesterday. Good for Michael King, but we can talk about that decision. Yesterday's game against the Brewers, Padres got their bats out in a 14-8 win, and we'll give away some Padres tickets again for the Jackson Merrill bobblehead game against the Cleveland Guardians coming up on the first Monday of the season, so you'll have a chance to win those all in our next segment, so stay tuned for that. And, of course, today is the day the NCAA tournament does kick off. Now, most years we feel like it doesn't really start until Thursday.
Right.
Because the first 4 games, unless your team is in them, are just to really set the bracket. Your bracket picks don't count today or tomorrow.
Kind of annoying when you pick, because I picked the Aztecs to go through for a round, and it just says SDSU, UNC. I'm like, hey.
The amount of time it took for me to try to explain to my wife on Selection Sunday.
Yes.
Explaining the first 4. She goes, so we're not in. I'm like, no. Like, we are. She's like, but like the first round doesn't start until Thursday and Friday. I'm like, yeah, but we're still in.
I've been doing this all week at work.
Doesn't.
So are they in? Or are they not in? They're in. So they're in the first. Now they're
in like round 0.
Like pre-round. Yeah, I had the same conversation. It's kind of like the 0 round, and then if they win, they're in the first round. So they're not in. No,
they get tournament money.
They are in. It's an official tournament game.
It's on True TV, for God's sake.
But it's one that we tend to ignore until your team is in it, and then it feels very real.
It's so real. Somebody said yesterday on Twitter, they said, and so that would mean the Aztecs are a 16 seed.
No, they're an 11 seed.
11 seed.
But so is North Carolina. And they're basically playing for one. They've got 1 11 seed. It's up for grabs, and whoever wins kind of takes the 11
now
seed.
The other first 4 games are either they're 16 seeds or 11
it's 16 versus 16 and 11 versus 11.
I don't understand. I never knew why that is. So why wouldn't they be like 15 seeds or all 16 seeds?
Ben's playing. So when they expanded the tournament from a nice even 64 teams to 68. And they did that because, they had more conferences with automatic bids, but they didn't want to give these new little conferences with, bottom of the tournament kind of teams, more teams, and then take away the at-large bids from, the Big Ten and the SEC. So they just expanded by adding 4. But at the end, they said, all right, so the play-in games, because we're going to need to play 4 extra games to get from 68 to 64, we'll have 2 of those games be for the bottom 16 seeds. So 16 versus 16, the last 4 automatic bids into the tournament. So the Mount St. Mary's and the tiny schools that won the little leagues that you've never heard of, 2 of them will play for a 16 seed in one in region, and 2 of them will play for a 16 seed in the other region. And then they said, and then the other 4 will be the last 4 at-large teams. But they're better than the 12 through 16 seeds. So they'll probably be 11 seeds, and they will play for the last 2 spots in the tournament, and they will go into the bracket where they're supposed to go in, right around an 11 seed as the last at-large teams in the field. So that's why they do it this way. It's confusing to everybody. Doesn't really matter, again, unless your team is in it, and then it matters a lot because,
big time.
You may win your bracket. The weird thing is, if you were a San Diego State Aztecs homer and you have them going all the way to the Final Four, winning the championship, and you filled out your bracket with SDSU all the way in, and they lose tonight, you can still win your bracket because you get North Carolina.
Now you're rooting
all
for
the way
now that's
through
a
as
good
well.
point. That's a really good point I didn't think about. You get 2 for
counts.
1 there.
You get 2 for 1. So if North Carolina goes on a huge run, you would have the weirdest tournament win. You go, I got every single game wrong because I had North Carolina losing in the first 4 game, and they won the whole thing. But hey, I had the Aztecs, so I get credit for that somehow.
I like that. All right. So you really can't lose today.
No, if your bracket,
if your bracket matters to you,
cannot lose in your bracket tonight. That's why you don't even have to turn your brackets in until Thursday morning.
For the 3rd time, would you give me game time again?
6:10.
Okay, I try to drill it into my head. I was hearing 3:20 in my head, 3:10 for some reason. 6:10 tonight.
6:10 Pacific, 9:10 Eastern time on True TV. San Diego State against North Carolina. We'll talk about it coming up at 7 o'clock. We got our usual features like Don't Do This, Take on Woods, and the Roundel Report. But we are now down. The voting is complete. And we are down to the Elite Eight of the Tournament of Drops, 6th Annual Ben & Woods Tournament of Drops. We will announce the winners coming up at 7:35 again this morning.
I will just tell you, we had 8 polls yesterday in the Sweet 16 round, and 4 of them were, just a couple of votes separation.
Right, so we have gotten some good competition now in the drops. We will give you the winners, and we will set the matchups for the Elite Eight. Tomorrow, we will be down to the final 4 in our Tournament of Drops. We'll have that for you coming up at 7:35 this morning. Sam Levitt will join us. It's a later day for the Padres today. They play tonight here on 97.3 The Fan against the San Francisco Giants. Stephen Kolek will be on the mound. You can listen to it right here. Samuel will get us caught up at 8:35. And then I believe at 9 o'clock, can I announce it?
Yeah.
Little Ben & Woods NCAA Aztecs tournament tradition.
Love it.
The coach, Steve Fisher,
Let's
will be with us at 9 o'clock
I love
to
it.
talk about the Aztecs and Dutch's team and another run in the NCAA tournament for the red and black.
We hope so.
The man, well,
he texted me back very late last night.
Okay.
And I texted him this morning about 10 minutes ago. So try not to wake him up too early, but he did say 9 o'clock sounds good.
That man
You
was
just don't
up.
want to wake Angie up. It's okay. I don't think Coach minds.
He was up at 11 o'clock last night. He texted me back. I woke up at 4 a.m. and looked at my phone.
Do you know the last time I saw 11 p.m.? It was 2012, I think, was literally the last time I saw 11 p.m. Like, literally, I was like, 11. 11.
The
I'm
man is a
embarrassed.
marvel.
He is a marvel.
He brought college basketball love to the city of San Diego where it had not existed and turned things into, well, the madness that now sees 4 teams going to the NCAA Division I tournament from this town. And you don't think that a lot of that is because of what Steve Fisher did at San Diego State?
The
It
groundwork.
absolutely is. So looking forward to hopefully that in our 9 o'clock hour as well. We'll take a timeout, though. When we come back, we will talk Padres. Michael King, your opening day starter. What are your expectations for Michael this season? That is coming up next with Ben & Woods here on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, gang, grab your phone right now. We were just talking about the tournament. Nothing like March basketball. Bring the fun of a bracket to every game by making entries on Underdog, one of the leading sports apps you can now play in your state. To choose or to play, you guys know how this works. Just choose higher or lower on player stats. They got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. Baseball, yeah, you can make a baseball. You can go in there and do it today with for tomorrow's game. Roki Sasaki, will he strike out more than 6.5? You can choose higher or lower, whatever you want to do. You can play with as little as $1. If you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. They got cool little promos within the app as well. Oh, look, this is a 35% increase in my winnings if I click this button. Very, very fun, very simple to use as well. So download the Underdog app, sign up using the promo code WOODS to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus credits. When you make your first deposit, join in on the fun. When you sign up with promo code WOODS, claim your special offer today. Get up to $1,000 in bonus credits instantly upon first deposit. Must be 18 and over, 19 and over in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and over in Colorado for some games, 21 over in Massachusetts and Arizona, present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Void where prohibited. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369.
one more.
I will admit, I was a bit surprised yesterday. Show ended. We were walking over to our production studios, and I hear Paul yelling up, Mike Schilt just named his opening day starter. And I go, Dylan Cease, right? And he goes, nope.
That was actually me that said it.
Was it you?
I'd like,
Sorry.
since you're the credit lover, I'd like some credit.
Fine.
For once.
Woodsy says it. And I go, Dylan Cease? He goes, nope. Michael King, the opening day starter for the San Diego Padres.
Michael the King, baby. Let's go. I love it.
Now, there was a bit of a qualifier, too. Why don't I let the manager kind of explain in his own words his decision-making process as to choosing Michael King as the Padres opening day starter?
Michael King will be our opening day starter. Yeah, and the reason we got to this, first of all, let's back up. We had three really strong candidates for this. Darvish, obviously, Michael, and Dylan. And when we got the rain the day we decided to push Darvish back, I went to you and I said, this can impact your opening day. And it speaks to the teammate that he is and the culture that we have about selflessness and team. And he said, don't worry about that. Michael
Sweet
or Dylan,
angel.
let them, one of those two guys be the opening day starter. I'm okay with it. So I really spoke well about Darvish. So now we got a 2-horse race. And then it literally fell into just the way that days have gone. Michael was a little sick early in camp and got his schedule going in a certain way, and Dylan got his schedule going a certain way, and the schedules have worked out really well. But it lines Michael up, who's well deserving of the open day starter. So he's happy. We're excited for him, and it just puts Dylan on a regular rest that we want to be mindful of. Talked to Dylan this morning about it. Listen, there's other opportunities. Both of them can compete for starting in the All-Star game and pitching in Game 1 of the playoffs. So Dylan took it well. Thought, clearly put himself in position for it. But Michael is going to be our opening day starter.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting after Woods went on his rant about, learning how to fail in the game of baseball.
Yep.
Mike Schilt, the manager of the Padres, essentially said no one failed in this competition. It simply was logistics that landed on Michael King over two other very worthy candidates. He didn't necessarily separate himself from Dylan Cease or Yu Darvish. In fact, if you read between the lines or even just listen to directly what Mike Schilt had to say, Yu Darvish was the opening day starter for the San Diego Padres. That was the plan. And then when his schedule got messed up due to the rain and then he got shut down due to fatigue, they went to the backup plan, and it ended up just working out better between Michael King and Dylan Cease that his day would fall on opening day against the Braves next week. Nothing against Michael King. As Mike Schilt said, he absolutely deserves it, but so does Dylan Cease and so does Yu Darvish. There's no wrong answers. There's no right answers. But congratulations to Michael King, who will get a nice feather in his cap of an opening day start at Petco Park next week.
Well, and I don't think we mentioned it yesterday, but Yu is kind of down right now with a little fatigue. Now, I don't know if that's arm fatigue. I don't know if that's body fatigue. Pitched really well his last time out. So it could be one of those things where it's like, hey, man, take an extra couple days. He's not the youngest pitchers that we have. I'd rather him be fresh for his first start, which should come the first week of the season. I didn't really glean that there was anything wrong with him, just a little bit run down. I know a lot of guys, like he just mentioned, King had the flu, Cease had the flu. All these guys have had the flu bug run through there. Everyone's a little bit worn out, probably a little tired of spring training is my guess. I spoke to somebody in the Padres organization yesterday. I will not name names. They are also a little tired of spring training and are ready to get the real action going. Yesterday's game was a bit of a slog. I don't know if you guys watched that game yesterday.
Over 3 hours.
Yeah, it was much like a half inning of my Little League game last night. So it was a bit of a slog.
So Michael King, don't forget, had an outstanding season last year. Paulie has the stats on our screen on YouTube. Through 13-9 with a 2.95 ERA. That includes a kind of a up and down month of April where he was only so. I think his ERA was over 5 the first month. And then after May kicked in, Michael King was arguably the best pitcher in the National League. Ended up 7th in the Cy Young voting. If he can pick up where he left off, skip the ragged April, absolutely. I think the sky is the limit for Michael King. He is a legitimate Cy Young contender. He will get the opening day start. So, if he stays healthy, he'll have the bulk to do it. He's had a pretty good spring as well. So Michael King is very much set up for potentially a really breakout 2025. I mean, he had a breakout 2024, but in terms of like beyond San Diego nationally, he has the playoff success. He pitched well in the postseason at Petco Park, and now he'll get a chance to do it on opening day and beyond for the Padres this year. And if he does well, he's going to make a lot of money.
Yes.
A lot of money next offseason, whether it be from the Padres or somebody else, because he is set up for future riches.
Yeah, he is, man. He absolutely is, and he's very deserving of it. And I think we can put to bed now, and I think Michael King is happy to put to bed I'm a hybrid. I'm going to come out of the bullpen. No, Michael King is a starter in this league. He's earned it. He's proven he can do it, and he's going to get paid like it, and he deserves to get paid like it. So I think that was the stepping stone, or that was the one burr in the heel of his arbitration. We're like, we kind of look like, you're still kind of in that first year, Ben, of being a hybrid, but no, that's not. He's a starter.
Here's what the man himself, Michael King, had to say after the announcement by Mike Schilt.
You had the chance to experience Petco Park during the regular season, during the postseason last year. What's your level of anticipation to not just pitch on opening day, but pitch on opening day in that ballpark?
Yeah, I was shook by how loud it was when I was warming up during the announcements for playoffs. Luckily, I was able to do it twice because it was first game of the wild card, and then it was the first home game against the Dodgers and the DS. And I can't wait to feel that again. I think that there's nothing like running out from the dugout when they're cheering your name, but it's different when you're out there in the bullpen and hearing it from their perspective, being out in the crowd. It's a blast, and I'll just try to make sure I can keep the adrenaline to a minimum while I'm out there.
I really want him in a Padres uniform long term.
Too,
I try not to get too attached.
I
know it's pro ball. He is definitely one of my favorites.
No question, man.
He's a good guy. He seems to fit in really well here. I'd like him to be part of this community for a long time. That's the one I would love to see get done at some point. So congratulations to Michael King, your opening day starter for the Padres. I'm assuming Dylan Cease probably will go in day 2, but Mike Schilt likes to parse out those information nuggets to the media a little bit slower than that.
So. Which is fine. Who cares?
All right, let's check traffic. As you mentioned, yesterday's game was a bit of a slog, but we did have a little more developments in the competition for the final roster spots.
You got that crow that we can all sit here and eat. I'm happy to eat it. I told you.
Was someone with the initials YG listening to our show yesterday?
I mean,
talk about that next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury. Here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring. Definitely starting to get a little busier on our roads, guys. We got this crash on westbound 54 at Rayo Drive. A couple vehicles involved there over to the right shoulder. Also reports of a collision on northbound 805 before Home Avenue. A couple vehicles, including a semi, involved in this one. Not showing if any lanes are blocked. Want to mention the structure fire in Spring Valley. The fire is pretty much out, but you'll still see some activity. This is the 8700 block of Hamishaw, east of the 125. So just expect a little activity in that area. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water water different. They always bottle their Alpine spring water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. And Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Before we get to the competition for the final roster spots, Jake Cronenworth's having a real good spring.
He is.
He had another 2-for-2 performance yesterday. He's hitting the ball hard. His average is up to 310, and that's with an inordinate amount of bad luck in terms of like hard outs that he has made. Jake is really, really looking good this spring. Will he carry it over into the season? You know, Jake's been prone to stretches, long slumps during the season, and he comes out and he plays well for a while and ends up, with his numbers at the end of the year. Can he minimize those longer slumps and stay locked in longer? Because if he can, Jake Cronenworth could be poised for another all-star season for the Padres, and that would be absolutely huge. Just want to throw that out there. But I thought the big headline yesterday in the game against the Brewers were the last, spots on that roster. And the guy, it says on my rundown here, Paulie, anybody think someone told Yuli Gurriel all the mean things you were saying about him yesterday? What? I did not say any mean things. I don't think Woods did either. We were saying facts. The fact that he is 40 years old.
40.
The fact that his numbers the last 3 years were abysmally bad.
Yeah.
None of these are mean. They're just
kind of mean.
No. They're just facts. They're just absolute black and white information.
The audacity that they would even include this man on that roster had you guys freaking out.
But
I'll raise my hand. I probably was a little mean. I don't see it. I didn't see it. And of course, yesterday. I mean, look, it's the Ben and Woods curse. It's a real thing at times. And it was kind of the reverse curse with Yuli Gurriel yesterday, who went out and had a monster game. Hit a bomb, drove in 4 runs, got his average up to 296 with an 840 OPS. And hey, like I said yesterday, I'm very happy to be wrong about Yuli Gurriel. Very happy. And Jason Hayward, for that matter, who also had
he was 0 for 1 with 2 walks.
We had 2 walks.
And 2 runs scored,
twice.
Which getting on base is a good thing. I mean, for that competition for the last spots, Connor Joe did finally go 0 for 2, although he made a nice diving catch. In foul territory in deep left field. And let's not forget about Oscar Gonzalez.
My God.
Who hit the hardest ball of the spring, I believe, at 115 miles an hour on a double down the left field line. So all of those guys are still in competition. We assume Jason Hayward looks like he's going to make the team. The word was that Yuli Gurriel has impressed and, seems to have an inside track, maybe, according to Kevin Acee, to make the team as well. I'm not 100% sure about that, but 2 for 3, home run and 4 RBI, not going to hurt his chances at all yesterday. So there were some developments in that competition for the last spot. Maybe no more clarity on who it, should go to, who deserves it, but guys are fighting for it, and they're fighting, looks like, all the way to the finish line, which is now less than a week away for the end of spring training.
The Oscar Gonzalez story remains really interesting. I saw this yesterday from our buddy Clark Fahrenholt, and he said, look, I'm not sure he makes the opening day roster. However, he does have 2 minor league options remaining. That said, our pals from Mad Friars write in immediately, note that while he does have options, he also has an opt-out in his contract if he doesn't make the big league roster.
Which I think the way he's played would make him very intriguing to another team.
Correct.
So you might lose him.
You may lose
him on the team.
No question. So if he's not on the squad, he can opt out. And some other team says, oh yeah, we love the 60%, 70% barrel rate, and love that you're hitting the ball extremely hard. We love that all you do is hit doubles right now. We need some power from the right-hand side. You seem to be that guy. We'll take you. And that would be a bummer to lose somebody with that much ability.
One other note from yesterday's game, I saw that they honored Trevor Hoffman by inducting him into the Cactus League Hall of Fame, which I'll admit is something I did not know existed until yesterday.
Who else is in the Cactus League Hall of Fame?
No idea.
The worst Hall of Fame in his Hall of Fame credentials.
They were very clever. They did it for the Padres Brewers game, the 2 teams that, at least the Cactus League teams that he played for during his major league career. So he did spend a lot of his time in the Cactus League, and it was nice. They had Wyatt got into the game as well. His son, still in the Padres organization, played and was there and part of the ceremonies for Trevor I don't know exactly where. I mean, if I know Blue Meanie's in Peoria right now, I couldn't even tell you where the Cactus League Hall of Fame is. Is it an actual building? Is it just kind of an online Hall of Fame?
An online Hall of Fame.
I mean,
It's just in the
if you go to
ether.
Salt River Fields or one of the other ballparks, is there like a room where you go in and you see like the busts of all the greats of the Cactus League? Or is there any player that didn't do well in his major league career that is in the Cactus League?
I need
Hall
to
of
know
Fame?
more info on this. I'm going to look it up
Like,
while you
man,
guys.
this guy was so great in the spring. Never did anything in his actual big league career, but you should have seen him during the Cactus League. The
All right.
guy just tore it up. Have you found
So
it?
the Arizona Spring Training Experience and Cactus League Hall of Fame. It seems to be. No. You keep talking. I'll find it. You can buy a book. Exhibits, Hall of Fame.
Okay, it does exist. There's exhibits.
2025 inductees. Trevor Hoffman, Pat Hughes is a broadcaster for the Brewers.
Cubs and Brewers.
Yep.
yeah.
Mike Murphy worked for the Giants. Ron Pies.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of this.
It's
Trevor-
I think it's in the Mesa Historical Museum.
Trevor inducted along with the Ho-Ho Cam groundskeeper yesterday to the Cactus League Hall of Fame. Not going to be his most prestigious honor of his
No.
career, but
But I'm
hey,
sure he was very happy.
he'll take it. He'll take it. He was there. And that wraps up our discussion of the Padres. We'll get into the Aztecs and their game today next here on The Fan. Quite the whirlwind for the San Diego State Aztecs. Think about this. The selection show on Sunday was at 3 p.m. They found out fairly early in the show that they were going to the first four. For about an hour, Dutch thought his game was on Wednesday until he was told, no, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, Paulie had a buddy that booked a flight to Dayton immediately after they found out, and they said the game was Wednesday. And so he's done. I'm going to go see my guys fly out.
I went to Go Aztecs on Instagram. It said there was a graphic, dancing, whatever. Wednesday.
Bought the tickets.
And then
get the hotel room.
At the end of the selection show, they mentioned something about the Aztecs and Tuesday, and one of my other friends was like, did they just say we're playing on Tuesday now?
Oh,
and my buddy's like, well, got to change those flights and get everything flipped around.
Why'd they do that? Was it a mistake or?
So it's never been this way before. So they've always had, two of the first four games on Tuesday and then two of them on Wednesday. And the Tuesday games then would go play Thursday in the NCAA tournament, and the Wednesday winners would play on Friday.
Right.
And since the Aztecs saw that their next game, if they won, would be on Friday, they assumed, like the rest of us, that, we must be the Wednesday game because we're going to Friday. But didn't notice that the other game in the first four also went to Friday. So in the end, they had to pick one of the two Friday games to move up to Tuesday, and they picked San Diego State, North Carolina to be the Tuesday game. So it's never happened that way before. But, just a little bit of assumption that turned out to be incorrect. So scrambled, the NCAA arranges for charter flights for the teams, but you still have to make the arrangements like, hey, we would like to be picked up at Lindbergh Field at so-and-so time. They did. They got on the plane at around 9 a.m. And within 24 hours of finding out where their game was going to be played, they were in Dayton, Ohio, landing in Ohio, heading pretty much straight to the arena for a practice, an open practice, which doesn't do college coaches much good. I mean, the players get to see the sight lines and take some shots in the arena and get comfortable, but you can't work on like the game plan because you know who else is at the open practice? The other team's coaches are generally there. Although I did see North Carolina got delayed. They had the closer flight, but they had some travel issues. They actually arrived after San Diego State. So they're also scrambling to get in and, make it for their Tuesday game as well. Dutch said they will have a walkthrough this morning, maybe right now. They are actually practicing probably in a hotel ballroom and putting in the actual game plan. He said, we have no game plan at this point. Yesterday, less than 24 hours from game time, he went up on the podium and goes, we don't have a game plan yet, but we will put one in the morning and then we will play the game in the evening. And that's how it works in March. Dutch will, like he always does, and he says this all the time, March is about the players. It's not about the coaches. The players will make plays or they won't make plays, and that will decide the game. And, he's going to trust his guys to go out there. He'll put a game plan in. He'll give them some, tips and a little scouting and a little film to watch on North Carolina. But essentially, he says, you got to go out there and you just got to outplay them. That's how we win, and that's how we advance in the month of March. And he also said that the Aztecs will go as far as Magoon Guath can take them. He says, we will not win without Magoon Guath in March.
It's a lot of pressure.
Just a lot of pressure for a guy who has not played in 3 weeks, is returning and is expected to be available, hopefully at close to full capacity for this game tonight. But it did give me some pause, how Dutch pretty much said, we can only win if Magoon plays and plays well.
Jeez.
And he said, and we'll see. We'll see how, how quickly he shakes off the rust and gets back into game speed.
Here's a little bit of Dutcher yesterday.
Magoon is our freshman big. He was freshman of the year in the Mountain West Conference, defensive player of the year in the Mountain West Conference. And he's been out of action since February 22nd, I believe. So basically 6 games. He got hurt 2 minutes into the Utah State game. So now he practiced full yesterday, limited reps, but full go. And so our intention is to have him on the court tomorrow and see what kind of difference he'll make for the Aztecs.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of pressure on him, and for a team that just has not been good rebounding. That he's important. He blocks shots. I mean, all their guys quick to the rim. Like, you can't do that when he's there and he's healthy. It's gonna be a battle. And for as much as we've talked about UNC and their quad 1 record. It's a blue blood program. San Diego State's never beaten them, as far as I know.
0-2.
Two long ago matches.
Yeah.
It's going to be a battle,
and a 1 versus a 16 or something.
Right.
Like that.
Everyone is. Somebody made the point. No one was really happy, unless you're a Tar Heel, that this team got in. There's in a lot of people's opinions, this was like the last team they should have put in. So everybody in the country is rooting against you. Nobody thinks you can do it. You can actually be a real underdog type, even though you're favored in this game. You kind of get the sense that everyone's rooting for the Aztecs to knock these guys out. And every sports guy, as you know, because we have him, they want to be right. They want to be right all the time. And when guys go on these rants about how they don't belong, bro, that gets in that locker room. They're gonna be playing hair on fire, guaranteed, to at least get that first one in, right? So it's gonna be a battle for the Aztecs, man. They got to make buckets too. They got to make buckets. They got to score. It's been, I think they're 111th in offense right now. That's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it.
They're going to need Miles Bird to play like Miles Bird did early in the season. We really haven't seen it in a while.
Couple
of months.
How can we?
Nick Boyd's been really
He's
good.
been great, but like it's hard to say. It's hard to say. We haven't seen that Miles Bird in so long. Like, hey man, you're gonna need to turn it on.
If he ends the game with 3 points, but just locks down RJ Davis defensively,
I mean, yeah,
fine.
His value is certainly still there defensively.
Big time.
He's arguably he could have been the defensive player of the year in the Mountain West.
He's a
well.
freak.
He's that good defensively.
Dominic makes a great point. The same people that are saying UNC shouldn't be in are also saying that we can't win.
They do think that UNC is going to win this game.
Yeah, Ken Palm's got him favored by.
So which is it?
Yeah, right.
Which is
it?
So they belong in, or they?
So if they don't belong, it's the most egregious thing that's ever happened in college basketball,
right? And
they're favored by 4, and the line's going up. Somebody needs to pick a side here. I do feel though, Benny, with the Aztecs, and I've watched a ton of them this season. They're just a very inconsistent young team. And Magoon is totally a game changer. But if he is let's say he's at 75%, is that enough? Is that going to be enough to slow down their offense? We got to make buckets, man. We got to make free throws. It's like I'm sitting here hoping Pharaoh Compton, because they're going to foul the crap out of him. I'm hoping he learned how to shoot a free throw in the last 4 days.
Bro, when I'm watching that Boise State game, they're like, Pharaoh Compton goes to the line. He's a 36% free throw shooter on the season.
He hasn't made one since June. You're like, oh, my God. We were laughing at the broadcast. Hannah goes, wow, they're real mean. I go, babe, but look, he's won for his last 14 or something.
I remember that. And then they go, oh, he's the worst free throw shooter
in
on the floor.
Country.
And then they fouled Miles Heidi, and they realized,
actually, no.
he's
the worst.
He's even worse.
Yeah, he's actually worse. You could literally, they were like, you couldn't have 2 bigger turds shooting free throws than these 2 guys. We were crying laughing, but hey, man, truth hurts sometimes. So they gotta make their free throws. They need to stay out of foul trouble too, dude. The second half of last week's game against Boise State, bro, it was like the second half starts and they get all squirrely.
Having Magoon back will that's 5 more fouls that you can absorb, because you have you're deeper. Gives a little more rest to JCJ and Heidi, that they can all be a little more aggressive. And by the way, North Carolina has been, I was doing the research on this one, that they've been susceptible to the block shot this year. And the Aztecs have the highest block shot rate in the country. And that's obviously largely because of Magoon Guath. So having him back in particular for this game, could be a potential difference maker for San Diego State. But he's got to rebound. The Aztecs just can't. I mean, if they rebound like they did against Boise State,
toast.
They wouldn't beat anybody.
No.
I mean, they're not going to beat anybody rebounding like they did in the second half and shooting like they did in the second half. So, it's a moot point. If that Aztecs team shows up, you could have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in his prime out there. It's not going to matter. You need to make some shots in the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
Guess what? They did. A couple of years ago, they made some shots.
Yeah, big ones.
It wasn't like that team was making shots all year. Remember, they were a 5 seed and they had a really good season, but they were inconsistent offensively, like all Aztecs teams.
It was defense. That's what got them there.
All of a sudden in the NCAA tournament, they started making some shots, and guess what? They ended up in the Final Four. I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but it can in March. You get hot. Miles Bird locks in again, like we saw early in the season. And you're a different team, especially if Boyd is playing well, especially if Jared Coleman-Jones, he's made some threes lately. It's possible that this team could play well. It's just almost impossible to predict which team is going to show up for this game or the next game, but hopefully there is a next game.
Yeah, and the other thing too, anytime you're talking about March Madness, the way that the game is officiated is just so important. And are they going to let them play? Are they not going to let them play? Are they going to be tight in the first half? Are they going to be loose in the second half? You never know. You need to kind of take it out of the refs' hands as much as you can, because
no Mountain West refs.
Yeah, that's good. That's actually a really good thing. But it's just one of those things that you have to consider anytime March Madness gets here. It's like, oh boy.
Almost always seems to be in the Aztecs' favor when the referees are swallowing their whistles a little bit.
100%. Because they're
letting them play.
They play really aggressive.
The Aztecs play that aggressive defense, and the referees are going every ticky-tack foul. Man, the other team gets into the bonus quickly. It's like, 14 minutes left in the first half, and they are in the bonus the rest of the way. And then San Diego State has to be careful and back off a little bit, and they can't play the defense. So how the referees officiate games tends to matter a lot for San Diego State. What kind of refs are they going to get? No idea. We'll find out, when the game starts tonight.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm nervous. I want to throw up. I hate it.
It is, unlike, normal NCAA tournament when you've got 4 games going on at once, only one game. Only everyone that is into college basketball will be watching this one tonight if they've got their True TV on at 6:10 against the North Carolina Tar Heels. And my bet is in with Tier 1 Jordan. And
mine is too. It's like $30.
That's what I got.
Same here.
30 bucks.
All right.
Well, go SDSU.
20
so he's
Jordan.
in the hole for like $100 if they lose.
$30 bet. I don't think I've ever made one like that. 30 is just a weird number, I thought.
And he's going to call in tomorrow morning,
Okay.
one way or the other.
Okay.
Win or lose. Eat crow or
celebrate
on our dunk on us if the Aztecs lose. And it could go either way. I'm certainly not supremely confident in San Diego State, but they can win this game.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, they can win this game. All right, we're going to take time out. When we come back, it is time for Don't Do This. And this time, Don't Do This is literally advice for one of my coworkers.
Wonder which one.
Could be. I don't know.
Probably me.
John Flint down the hall.
Could be.
Could be anybody. JR in the engineering department.
Matt Scraby.
Could be. Scrabinator. Had dinner with our Sam Levitt at
did.
Chompy's last night.
Our beloved Chompy's.
Out there in Peoria, Arizona. We'll get to that coming up after Kelly's check of traffic. Next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by Trust and Will. Don't leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Do set up a Trust or Will online at trustandwill.com. This is a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. I will start with a violation of one of the simplest childhood playground rules. No takebacks.
No takebacks.
No takebacks. We had a really bad case of the takebacks in the NIT. The tournament for the 32 top teams that don't make it into the NCAA tournament. It's the consolation prize. I get it. No one's that happy about it, but it's still more basketball, especially. And for some teams, it's actually an accomplishment. Hey, I remember when the Aztecs got to the NIT, when they hadn't been playing in the NCAA tournament for years,
You take it, man.
Okay, this is a step forward for our program. And Coach Richie Riley was very happy at South Alabama when the NIT called late Sunday evening and extended an invitation into the field of 32 for his Jaguars. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a snafu.
Oh,
So UC Riverside had been extended an invitation to the NIT, but had already committed to one of the other tournaments, the CBI, the College Basketball Invitational, and thought they were going to be unable to get out of that commitment. Well, it turned out that Sunday evening, they were able to get out of their CBI commitment, called the NIT and said, okay, we're in.
Oh.
And they said, okay, you're in. And then they had to give South Alabama the bad news. Unfortunately for Coach Richie Riley, he had already told his team. They had accepted the invitation. They celebrated. They were excited about it. And then he had to rip it away. And Riley says, this is unacceptable. You can't do that. There was no other slots in any other tournaments. So their season is now over
dude,
for South Alabama. Because they thought they were in the NIT and then they weren't.
That's a huge blow.
They had a good season, 21-11. Went to the conference tournament semifinals.
I do feel this should be the way that it's handled. If I extend you an invite and you decline because you're going to another tournament, you've already accepted that invite, right? Like we're going to play in the what is it? The
CBI.
CBI. We're going to play in the CBI. Well, maybe we can get out of it. Actually, no. You've said no. You're out.
You've got one chance.
You got one chance to say yes, and if you say no, even if you can get out of it and wiggle back in, we don't have a spot for you because we extended it to another team. I think. I mean, that's tough. That's really tough. Imagine being that coach, having to walk back and guys, actually, you can pack up your lockers. We're done until next season. That's really rough.
So feel really bad for the South Alabama program. Maybe they'll come back stronger from this next year. But it was an unfortunate situation.
Man, speaking of unfortunate situations, saw this last night. I don't know that it's really a don't do this, but just more of a hope that everyone's okay. And
It's scary.
Scary. Well, when it first came out, it was funny because you don't often see superstars vomiting on the side of the court at a basketball game. And that's exactly what happened to Tracy Morgan last night. He's a huge Knicks fan. He was at the game last night, sitting courtside as he's done a million times. And all of a sudden, there's video circulating of him vomiting profusely on the floor. So the thing with Tracy Morgan is, so you saw it and you went, oh my God, bro, like what happened? You overheated? Like did you eat some, bad hot dog or whatever? Madison Square Garden rep made sure to indicate it was a bit more serious. They said they would happily host him again, despite the unfortunate scene. We hope Tracy feels better soon. We look forward to seeing him back outside. Eventually, the medical staff came over, put him in a wheelchair, and somebody noticed he was bleeding from his nose.
He had like a Gatorade towel wrapped around his face.
Yep.
And when he removed it, you could see a lot of blood, like a bloody nose or something.
It was really, really scary. When you see the blood is when it turns really scary. The vomit, you're like, oh, well, somebody had too many beers or a bad hot dog or whatever. But no, he also, Tracy Morgan's had some pretty severe health issues. He's a diabetic, number one. He had a kidney transplant in 2010, had significant injuries, almost died in that car wreck in 2014. So I hope he's doing well and is on the road to recovery. And this wasn't anything but, again, maybe something like some bad food or something like that. But it was pretty. The video, I mean, anytime I see somebody vomit, I start to retch. Yeah. So watching it kind of made me retch.
So it was scary. I was actually watching that game live, and there was a lengthy delay.
They couldn't find a mop.
They couldn't find a mop. which you definitely needed one for the mess that was made.
Yeah, because
But the broadcast,
the one that they used to wipe up sweat with just the
That ain't gonna
towel
work.
wrapped on the thing is not going to work.
that ain't gonna fly. It happened near the broadcast tables where the scorers and the broadcasters are, and you could kind of hear them. They're like, there's a delay here, a situation with a fan. They didn't say who it was. They didn't say what was going on. The other guy's like, don't talk about it. You don't have to talk about it. Just don't talk about it. And you're watching like, what the hell is going on?
Wow.
I mean,
and then you saw the
what are you
video.
supposed to say if you're the PA announcer? Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. There is a delay in the game. Tracy Morgan has barfed all over the
vomited
floor.
all over the floor.
It's just you can't say that to everybody at the arena.
Jeez.
Ugh.
They didn't need a mop. And then they probably sprinkled that sawdust.
Yeah.
What was it that when we were kids, when somebody vomited?
Sawdust.
Sawdust?
It's very absorbent,
And you
so it gets all
smelled
the
that
moisture
smell
out of it.
for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Well, somebody you're like, oh my God, Freddie vomited in the
Oh yeah,
cafeteria
sawdust
day.
from the school janitor. Had
You guys
the
ever
sawdust.
vomit at school?
Yeah.
You
No,
did?
in my classroom.
You did?
Really?
Yeah, did I tell you guys this?
No.
story? Yeah, I was in third grade, and it was kind of like a quiet time. Everybody was kind of working, but there was a line of maybe 5 students to talk to the teacher.
Yeah.
And so sweet, polite, 9-year-old Paul, I got the gurgle. I feel it. It's coming. And I have to ask for a bathroom pass. So I think the respectable thing is to wait in line, wait your turn.
You go stand there.
So I'm standing behind a line of like 4 kids. I finally, can I get a bathroom pass? And she's like, yeah. And then as soon as like I turned to walk towards the door, everywhere. Everywhere.
Teacher's dilemma.
And
Because
she goes, Paul, I appreciate you were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And you're going,
waiting in line, waiting your turn.
Just go.
If it's an emergency, just go. And I'm like, well,
That's tough because you can't just have kids running willy nilly to the bathroom whenever they want.
It's
But
true.
you also
I'm
don't.
sick. Yeah.
You don't want them to throw up all over your floor.
How about the vomit can? That's the vomit can.
Ugh.
If you have to vomit, go vomit in the vomit can.
Did you have a nickname after?
Yeah,
that?
Pukey Paul for the rest of your life. Paul the Puker, Puking Paulie. I mean, it's a million of them. You tell I was
The
a bit of,
alliteration.
you tell I was a bit of a bully. Hey, look who it is! It's Pukey Paul. Yeah, terrible. No, he called you worse names than that.
Finally, I think there's a do this mixed in with all the don't do this from this story.
DD mega
You know what?
doo-doo.
I want it to be a lesson for anybody who might be listening, maybe even in this room. This comes from 670 The Score, where host Dan Bernstein has been taken off the air after an incident.
Sister station in Chicago.
Is this an Odyssey station? Okay, so this is our company, Woods. Just keep in mind, this is what happens. So don't do this.
Okay.
And
What
do
did
be
you
on
do?
your best behavior.
Okay.
So Dan Bernstein, the radio host in Chicago, has both been taken off the air and dropped from a local children's cancer charity board.
Whoa.
After threatening to dox a social media follower last week over a disagreement related to
Fishing.
Yes. Apparently, a listener got mad at Bernstein and accused him of killing a pregnant fish rather than catching and releasing it. You're supposed to release pregnant fish so there'll be more fish in
How
the
does one know if fish is pregnant?
quick
Larger
test.
belly? You just know?
Just take a quick pregnancy test.
How do you
of
know?
the fish?
Yeah, and eat the one
Yeah,
of those,
I think it's a belly issue.
the belly thing.
When challenged by the follower, Bernstein threatened to release the person's address and phone number and get the person's kids involved.
All right.
Well, that didn't go over well at our company and or at the children's charity,
Yeah.
which removed him from the board, took him off the air. Dan Bernstein's had some sort of some history on this. He had a incident with Barstool where
Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Portnoy got on his wrong side after he blurted out the last name, I guess, of one of the guys that came on, not his Barstool name, but his real name.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's right. He that's his thing. He likes
that's
doxing
doxing.
people.
So,
Interesting.
even if a listener gets under your skin, you really can't go after them on social media. You're not playing from a level playing field here.
Why
You've
not?
got a larger audience. You can do a lot more damage than the listener can do with their 7 followers.
Well,
You know what I'm saying here, Woods?
let's put it this way. If I ever kill a pregnant fish and you guys come after me, I won't dox you. Okay? Deal. I'll make you a deal right now. I'll write it down. I'll sign. Michael, you want to print something up? I'll sign it. I will not. Number one, I'm not going to kill a pregnant fish. I would throw it back.
Cal says the fish was craving ice cream and pickles. That's how you know it's pregnant. I don't know. And that's sort of don't and really more don't. Do this on a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Even if someone from Victorville comes after your wife, you really can't. You can't do anything to them on social media because the consequences will blow back on you. This is just in general. This is for anyone who has someone from Victorville coming after their wife on social media.
He's not really coming after. He's a big fan of hers, which I can totally relate to. I'm also a big fan of hers. So. Also, he uses his name. It's Russ from Victorville. It's my guy. It's true. Yep.
The famous Russ from
Very
Victorville.
famous.
Maybe the only Russ.
Looks like a human cigarette butt.
I know you've been waiting for this. When we come back, Paulie says maybe the closest round of voting we've ever had.
It can't get closer than one vote separation
in our tournament of drops as we went from the Sweet 16 down to the Elite 8 in the last 24 hours. We'll reveal the winners and set the matchups to get down to the Final Four when we come back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, we're only a week away from baseball season, and I love playing Prize Picks during baseball season. It is the absolute best way for daily sports. Am I doing the wrong one right now? Oh, I am.
Yeah, you're all right. Keep going.
Sorry.
Keep rolling. Your fun day.
It's my fun day.
Yeah.
You're both looking at me so quizzically.
I was
realized.
like, did I make that big of a mistake?
I realized I saw the letter P, and that's all I saw was the letter P, and I thought that was Prize
Well,
Picks.
it was P for Pronto, so maybe we go to Lone Pronto.
All right, I will
and
hold
Woodsy.
off. Woodsy,
For the love
go
of
ahead.
God.
Tell everybody about Lone Pronto.
Oh, okay. Hello, homeowners. If what could you do with an extra $75,000 right now? Even a couple $100,000. If you own a home, you can get that money in less than a week with Lone Pronto. Lone Pronto, the leader in quickly converting your home's equity into cold hard cash. Pay off your credit cards, start that home remodel, pay off your car, all of that. Lone Pronto has several easy options to let you access the cash from your home. Virtually no paperwork, no cumbersome process, no junk fees, oftentimes no appraisal. Average homeowner now has over $300,000 in equity. That is your money. Use it at will. You can get approved in as little as a day. So act now with no hard credit pull up front. LonePronto.com, 619-207-4336. Get the money that you need for anything at all, 619-207-4336. Or go to LonePronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Well, it's just like the NCAA tournament. Some years it's filled with buzzer beaters, last-second shots, and some years it's just a bunch of blowouts. And, you fill out the brackets early, and 4 minutes left in the game, you can already write it in Sharpie, as Seth Davis does. It is the 6th annual Ben & Woods Tournament of Drops. We got the field down from 32 to 16 in our first 2 days of voting last week. And then yesterday, we had the Sweet 16 matchups, and over the last 24 hours, you voted to get them down to our Elite 8 best sound bites, funniest drops from the last year. So it's time to unveil the results. Paulie, if you would. All right, let's get into the bracket again, and we'll start in the upper left quadrant, the Beau Woods region, where the Sweet 16 matchup at the top featured the number 1 overall seed, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton.
You got a problem.
Taking on the number 4 seed, yours truly, Bootylicious. And Paulie, what were the results?
This one was not very close.
This better be a blowout.
With 73% of the vote. No surprise here. The number 1 seed, moving on.
You got a problem.
You got a problem.
All right, we got some chalk at the top. Let's go down to the bottom half of the Beau Woods region, where it was the number 3 seed, Woodsy.
Oh, God. Oh, yes.
And this one was a tough call because a very strong number 2 seed, one of Woods' favorite drops.
You're a crumb creep.
Oh, the best, dude.
This one, a little bit closer.
Please tell me I lost.
The winner got 54.7% of the vote, so a little bit closer. And the drop that is moving on is the number 2 seed.
You're a crumb creep.
Yes. I mean, I like my drop. That is so good. You're a crumb creep.
All right, let's go.
You're a crumb creep.
Down to the Juan Soto region. And we also had a number 1 seed going up against a 5 seed in the top. The number 1 seed there.
I love Paul Skeens.
Oh, strong number 1 as well against the number 5, the Ant-Man.
Bring gas.
And Paulie, the winner of the 1-5 matchup.
Gentlemen, we have our biggest upset of the tournament so far.
Wow.
By getting 51.7% of the vote. Just 9 votes
I didn't
separation.
see this coming at all.
The number 5 seed is moving on to the Elite 8.
Bring gas.
Bring gas to the Elite 8.
Wow. I love
As
Paul
it
Skeens
should.
is out. So a 5 seed into the Elite 8. Who will they take on? At the bottom of the Juan Soto region, we had a 3 versus 2 matchup. The number 3 seed, Adams, mess up on our board.
The Padres have slayed the dragon again.
No, they did not. They did not do that. Going up against the number 2 seed, John Heyman.
Thank you, John.
believe it.
It's a tough one as well. And Paulie, the results.
Another very, very close vote here. But with 52.4% of the vote, we're going to give this victory to, sorry, Adam, the number 3 seed.
The Padres have slayed the dragon again.
This is his nightmare.
Moving on.
Oh, my
All right.
God.
Let's move over to the right side of our bracket, the upper right Kelly Danick region, where we had a number 1 seed at the top, Ganja, a.k.a. Cannabis, going up against the number 5 seed, another Ben drop.
1-2 swallow.
And the winner, Paulie.
Gotta be
This one was a landslide.
Gotta be.
83.5% of the people that voted chose for what I think is going to go on and win the whole
It's
thing.
epic.
Really? Ganja, a.k.a. Cannabis.
It's perfect. It's funny by
elite.
itself, and then when you hear it on the show, it's usually pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because Ben's talking about something.
Yeah.
Ganja, a.k.a. Cannabis. All right.
It's the conviction in his voice.
Yes.
Like,
Ganja,
you know,
a.k.a.
in case
cannabis.
you didn't know
It's
what
just
matter
ganja
of fact.
meant.
Correct.
It's matter of fact then. All right, the highest remaining seed in the tournament, the 6th seed in the Kelly Danick region, still alive.
All right, 3, 2.
Oh, no.
Catching up with Padres pitcher Michael King. The Padres dugout about to launch
morbidly
Woods,
obese.
heavy
Woods,
breathing during our Michael King interview, going up against another Woods drop, a very strong number 2 seed.
Dylan Thief. That one makes me laugh.
And the winner
too.
here,
This was literally one vote. It would have been tied down the middle.
Whoa.
No way.
But the winner, moving on, is the number 2 seed.
Dylan Thief.
Oh, Thief survived a scare in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
All right, and let's go to the bottom right quadrant, the Don Orsillo region, where we have another 1 seed still alive. Hot Beef going up against Woods, the 5 seed.
Put your pants back on. That's
Yeah.
tough.
It's up against Hot Beef. That's
Hot
a tough
Beef's a-
matchup.
Yeah,
And the
it
winner
wasn't,
was
it was not very tough for the voters because with 72% of the vote, the number 1 seed moving on to the Elite 8.
Hot Beef.
As it should.
And then in the bottom of the bracket, it was our skipper, the 3 seed, still alive.
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
Going up
Gets me
against
every time,
the
too.
bracket's namesake, Don Orsillo, is the number 2 seed. And our final Sweet 16 winner, Paulie, was.
I thought this one would be a little bit closer because I do think the Mike Schilt drop does make me laugh every time.
Me too.
What's up, my dudes?
What's up, my dudes?
But no, with a very nice 69% of the vote, the number 2 seed, Don Orsillo, is moving on to the Elite 8.
I think that's the dark horse. We've seen Don Orsillo win this tournament before.
We have.
He's got a special place in the hearts of the tier 1s, apparently, and I am not counting out the 2 seed in the Orsillo region for making another deep run. So there you have it. The last 8 remaining drops in our 6th annual tournament of drops. So it is time now to unveil the matchups for the Elite 8, the winners. Over the next 24 hours of voting, we'll get into the final 4, and we'll go back to the Bow Woods region where it is a very strong 1 versus 2. I mean,
We have
I don't even know how to vote on this.
3
one.
out of the 4 regions are 1 versus 2.
Woo!
So we have the 1 seed in the Bow region
You got a problem.
going up against the number 2.
You're a crumb creep.
Oh, my God. I can see those two actually getting in an argument.
I can as
You
well.
got a problem. No,
You're a crumb creep.
No, you got a problem.
No, you've got a problem.
And then we move down to the next region.
Not
here.
a 1 versus 2.
No,
this is the
only
this is
one.
the upset bracket where it's the number 5 seed, Ant Edwards,
Bring gas.
going against the number 3 seed, Adam's Mistake.
The Padres have slayed the dragon again.
Sorry, Aunt.
We're gonna have an unlikely entrant into the final 4
Oh, yeah.
in that region
yeah.
for sure.
5 or a 3 are moving on.
All right, that was the Soto region. Then up in the Kelly Danick region, again, another 1 versus 2. We've got the number 1,
Ganja, a.k.a. cannabis.
Paulie's favorite, going up against the number 2.
Dylan Thief.
Ooh,
Still got to give it to Ben there.
I don't know for sure. Dylan Thief
Dylan Thief.
survives. Can it survive another close matchup?
I think this might be your year, Ben.
This could be your year.
I could have a matchup in the final 4 because on that side of the bracket, I'm also the 1 seed in the Don Orsillo region. Hot Beef!
Oh,
But going up against the man himself, the number 2.
hot beef is so much better than that. I just bought my hot beef sweatshirt yesterday. It's brilliant.
So the voting is now open. You can go to our social media channels, click on the link to the Google form, and you'll have the next 22 hours or so
Yep.
to get your votes in to try to
I
decide
usually
the
cap
final
it
4.
once I get into the studio here so I can prepare
Yeah,
for
right.
this segment.
Voting has been
Makes a lot of
strong.
sense.
You guys are turning out at your local ballot boxes. We really appreciate you.
All right, let's check traffic as people get started with their voting. And Woods, I wanted to get your story from this weekend at the Seals game that you never shared yesterday. Penalty box hijinks,
Bro.
apparently.
The best thing that's ever happened in there.
I've been told what happens in the penalty box stays in the penalty box, but you're going to violate.
I guess I'll
one of
violate the
rules
code.
of indoor lacrosse coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Crystal Geyser, Alpine Spring. The North 805 up to no good this morning. Crash before Imperial. It's over the right shoulder. Up ahead before Home Avenue. Another crash. This one is over the right shoulder. Several vehicles involved. Then we got a stall in the center divide, North 805, just before Mesa College. And get reports of another stall right before La Jolla Village Drive, but not showing if any lanes are blocked. Fortunately, no other incidents or accidents on our freeways. What you're seeing is just a lot of that usual slowing in the usual spots. We're looking at you, West 52, heading out of Santee. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? They always bottle their Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all their bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from their own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. And Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Don't forget to listen at 9 a.m. this morning when we announce another Biggest Fan. It's our final week. Your chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a future Padres game. Get your name in if you haven't yet at 97.3 The Fan, sd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called during our show, during Braden's show and the Gwen and Chris show. And remember, they're out in Peoria, Arizona. We got some sound. They did a bunch of interviews yesterday. I'd love to play a little bit of Gavin Sheets. He's one of the guys we didn't talk to, and they were able to catch up with, who's definitely trending toward making the roster.
Well,
so
when we were there, Gavin Sheets had done, I think he hit 1 home run, and just I didn't even see him.
And they asked him about that slow start. Like, did you feel like, I'm in trouble here? But now all of a sudden he's like leading the Cactus League in home runs and trending toward making the team. So we can get to that. First, though, I totally wanted to hear the story yesterday. We never got to it. So what happened? Seals had a record game, 20 goals.
Yeah.
2 sock tricks, which is 6 goals from 2 different players. But it also was a chippy game, you said. You were texting me during the game. Oh, there's a big fight right here going on. I mean, this was a chippy game against the Desert Dogs of Las Vegas.
You know, and it's funny. There's been some good fights, some tilts in the NLL this year. And those are the things that make the national headlines, really. I mean, they had them on like ESPN's top 10 the other day, but one of our guys, our rookie, Trent Chico, got under the skin of one of our former players, Casey Jackson, who I adore. He plays for Las Vegas now. And Casey's not a real fiery dude, but Chico went kind of up right here, Benny, right to the chin with the stick, cut him a little bit. So there's a little blood on his jersey. Put them both in the box. And as they are walking to the box, they are jawing the entire time. And, of course, I'm right there in the middle. And these dudes, they did not stop, Ben. The penalty's 2 minutes. They did not stop screaming at each other for 2 minutes. And it was when, so here's Casey on this side, Cheeks on my left, Casey from the right. You are nobody. You are ugly. I will kill you. I'm going to beat your effing ass. I will effing kill you. Did she go, oh, you're a real hero. Look at you, real hero. Casey, nobody even knows you in this league. You're a nobody. And then did she go, yeah, nobody knows you either. You're burned out. You're a washout. I'm going to see you. Where do you live? You live where? Victoria? I'm going to find you downtown. I'm going to beat the ass out of you. 2 minutes. I was laughing. So I'm right in the middle like this. I legit, and we had a guy.
I just find it so amazing that you're down
right
there.
In the middle.
You're right in the middle of it.
Benny. The funny thing is like, I love Casey Jackson. He's one of my favorite SEALs we've ever had. If he comes over the thing at him, I don't know who to protect. And I love Cheeks too, but I'm like, this is so finally they let Cheeks out of the box. Casey actually had a longer penalty. So when it was over, I looked at I go, hey, you good? I go, I've never seen you that worked up ever. He's like, F that dude. I'm gonna find him, I'm gonna beat his ass, I'm gonna break his nose. I was like, so it was we fought. We had at one time we had 8 people in the penalty box. So I'm like,
is there enough room for 8?
The answer is unequivocally no, there is not. And there was one guy standing, 3 guys sitting on the bench over here, 3 guys sitting on the bench, 1 guy standing. There's the guy, my boy LL, that does the clock. There's me, there's our producer. And then each box has a minder, right? Like to give them their water, their towels. There's 18 people down there for, at one point, it was like 9 minutes. I mean, it was like major penalties. I get a little bit claustrophobic. And you know,
auxiliary penalty.
Yes.
So
I almost vomited a few weeks ago because it was hot and I was getting kind of anxious. I had to talk myself down from the ledge, man. I was sitting in there going, if there was a trap door here where I could pull it and just shoot down to the bottom, I would have pulled it.
Because they're all hot and sweaty.
Oh, they stink, and they're so mad. They're screaming at each other. Bro, it was, I got to say, it was the most entertaining SEALs game I've worked. It was 20-11 was the final. It was never close. I mean, it was never, ever close. We put the wood to those guys that day. But to have these dudes, they didn't stop. And then DeChico ended up getting in a fight later in the game. Full scale, gloves off, helmets off, beat the crap out of this dude from Vegas. It was It was everything you could have dreamed of. It was goals, it was fights, it was trash talk. It's just part of it. It's all the reasons that I love that league, and it's so much fun, man. If you haven't been out to a game, we're not back for a while, man. It's like April 18th.
Getting near the end of the season.
Yeah,
right?
one more home game, and we'll be on the road 4 weeks in a row.
Now, are you going to make the playoffs? Is it what's the situation? Because I know they were under 500, but they won a couple now. So
yeah, they're in good shape right now, but you got to win on the road. They got 4 games on the road, and the travel is excruciating for these guys. But it should be we should be there at the end, I think.
All right, if you missed it this morning, the MLB season is underway. The LA Dodgers are 1-0. They beat the Chicago Cubs 4-1 at the Tokyo Dome. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was solid. Shota Imanaga was outstanding. 4 no-hit innings, I think, but they pulled him on a pitch count, and then the Dodgers scored 3 times in the 5th inning and then went on to the 4-1 win. But they did so, if you missed it, without Mookie Betts, who they knew they weren't going to have because of the illness. They actually sent him home to Los Angeles, but also without Freddie Freeman, who was expected to play, was warming up for the game, and then something happened during batting practice, some sort of rib injury. So they didn't have Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman for the game. Didn't matter with the pitching, with the bullpen that they've got. Tanner Scott, former Padre, came in, got his first save for the Dodgers, pitching the 9th inning in that one to lock down the 4-1 win. But there was something that I didn't realize got under my skin a little bit about the game. And it's one of the little things that they do for the Dodgers that I don't feel like the rest of baseball gets afforded. And I just
advertisement for Guggenheim behind them the entire game.
The fact that Shohei Ohtani's face is all over the entire country of Japan. I can't see enough of that all over the place. Thanks for that on my Twitter feed. No, I assumed, my bad, that like last year when the Padres and Dodgers played in Korea, that one game would be a home game for the Dodgers and one game would be a home game for the Cubs, like it was last year. That's fair. You give up one home game each. They didn't make the Dodgers give up any home games. They're both Cubs home games. The Dodgers are the road team for both of these games, so they still get all 81 of their home games in LA, and the Cubs just have to eat it, and they get 2 fewer home games when they come back and have to play 2 extra road games on their season. Why on earth did Major League Baseball let them do that and not split the 2 games?
You know why. This shouldn't surprise you even a little.
How is that not blatant favoritism?
It is.
It's blatant favoritism.
And Major League Baseball would say, yep, you're right. You got us.
Is this like a payoff?
Sue
because,
us.
Hey, we made you go to Korea last year, so we're not going to make you give up any home games this year for going 2 in a row. Is that the rationale?
But honestly,
behind it?
If I were the Dodgers, I would have absolutely said, yeah, man, we just went to Korea last year. I know that we're rating the entire country of its superstars. They all want to play here. So we don't want to give up. We don't want to give up home games. And I'm sure to get them there, they said, yeah, okay, no problem. And the Cubs, Cubs have Japanese superstars as well on their team, but not to that extent. So
Dodgers go, hey, we lead the league in attendance. We want to take away all of our 50,000.
Well, they need the money, man. You know, they're going to need they need those attendance.
Pay off all their salaries, no doubt about it. So anyway, Dodgers 1-0, Cubs 0-1. They'll play again at 3 a.m, and then back for the regular season next week. I've got a story from my lunch yesterday. I wanted to share.
This is fantastic.
Next year on the Fan.
right, we are halfway home on a Tuesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Woodsy. That's Paulie. That's Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Every day when I'm on this show with these guys, I realize that I just do everything the wrong way. Everything I do is wrong. Like, I just am just a rube. I just get taken advantage of, and I'm just an idiot. I did actually sign up this morning, by the way, because I was driving to work, and it said, I wanted to watch the Dodgers Cubs game as I was driving to work. Put it up on my, my little magnet and have the game on. So I went to my MLB app, and they said, you need to renew for the season. It's $150. Okay, so I did. And then I went to put the game on, and it's blacked out.
Because it was on Fox.
It was on Fox. So I went to the Fox app. They weren't showing it either. And so I went to my Contour app because that's my car. They said, no, you have to be watching on your home internet.
They weren't showing it on the Fox app? Because that's how I watched it.
It was not on the Fox app this morning. Driving, it wouldn't let me. It had like highlights and stuff, but it didn't have
listening. I had that game through my Bluetooth in my car on the way in. Because I thought it was weird. We were just talking about the game real quick. I thought it was weird that Jason Benetti and AJ Przizinski were calling the game.
I thought that was odd too.
Game 1.
But then I saw
Fox.
I think in LA Sportsnet, Joe Davis was on it because I did see a highlight of I heard a highlight of Joe Davis puking into the mic talking about the Dodgers. So I thought,
just to be clear, not complaining that I didn't have to listen to Joe Davis, but I was surprised. I was like, they're the Fox #1 team, John Smoltz and Joe Davis. Yeah. I would have thought, I don't know, opening day, big international contest or whatever. I would have thought you had your #1 crew there, but so, Jason Benetti and AJ Przizinski were doing it remotely.
I dropped $150 this morning just for another streaming app. And I didn't even get to watch the game. So I'm doing things wrong. And then Paulie just let us know that he's taking a week off in May around Memorial Day. It's his favorite holiday. He's mentioned that before. We've joked about it, right? It's like the most.
He goes hard.
It's like the most somber day. It's the most somber day of the year, right? And we think about all the
Memorial Gras for Paulie.
Yes, Memorial Gras, as he calls it in his private moments.
I'll be here
on the day,
honoring those that have served
and lost their lives
right on Monday, and then it's party time.
He's planned a trip around Memorial Day. That's how hard he goes. He needs 5 days for Memorial Day. And I said, where are you going? And he said, I'm going to Vegas. And I said, sick.
We go every year for our anniversary.
Yep. And he said, I got really cheap flights, and I got suites comped at the Cosmo. I said, excuse me?
High roller.
And I said, how did you get suites comped at the Cosmo?
He's a baller.
I have never had Never. I've never had a comp omelet. I've had a free Captain and Coke sitting at the table, but everybody gets those. I've never had a comp suite. I've never had a comped breakfast. Nothing. I've been to Vegas 1,000 times. I go, how much money did you guys gamble that they comp? What are you, Rain Man? Like,
it's not all about gambling,
Did you sign up for a player's card?
No.
Well, there you go. How do you expect to just get stuff?
So here's the thing. I just went.
When you go to Jersey Mike's,
yes,
do you get the punch card for your sandwiches?
No, I have the log.
You don't. I have the log.
I have the login.
Okay, you log in and get your.
So if you didn't have that, you can't just walk in and be like, "I come here every day.
I've been here 10 times. Where's my free sandwich?" They need to track it before they can give you free things.
But hang on, both of you, fun boys, both of you. Paulie said, we don't even gamble that much. It's the meals and all the stuff that we get. I go, I didn't know this.
If you book a room through an MGM resort.
I just booked a room at MGM. We just booked a room. We were at MGM.
Probably should have a player's card.
Why do I need it? It's in the computer.
An MGM card. Now, it's kind of fun to just get you riled up. I think you can go, if you have a receipt, when you sign up, you go to the desk.
He's not going to do that.
You sign up. They can go through your history. If you have like receipts or whatever, then they can give you the
You're
credit.
telling me you guys got comp suites for the money you spent at the restaurants in there, for the gambling,
yeah,
for
it's
all
not even
of
at the Cosmo. You can go to Park MGM.
Sure.
And go to Best Friend for dinner, but it's an MGM
Marriott
resort.
Points, right? I mean, this is MGM, but
yeah, but Marriott
Marriott
points. It's in the computer. It's in the computer.
You still have to sign up and have a Marriott Rewards.
It's got to get credited to you,
or whatever it's called. You have to sign up and have them track it first. Nothing's automatic in life. At the very least, you got to put in your phone number somewhere. You have to track.
I'm sure we did.
Like
my wife made the rest.
We can be
so this is
staying
her. What you're telling me is this her fault?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Possibly.
pretty much.
You could stay at the Cosmo and go get dinner at Bellagio or Park MGM or whatever other MGM resort. You bring the receipt back. You just charge it to your account or whatever. Bring the receipt to the desk and they'll credit you for those points. You get points.
Or
on,
maybe
I have no idea.
Maybe she's just hoarding all of the points.
Now that is also
for a future vacation
possible.
with her girlfriend.
With her girlfriends. That's also
pretty much what I do at home because I handle all of the discounts and club stuff and everything. So I, of course, take advantage of all of the freebies at the end because I'm the one who tracks it all.
I mean,
I've got all
that's
the
how they get you to come back is by
it's brand loyalty. Yeah, where you're going to go somewhere where you can
trip now in May. We'll pay for the next trip. Essentially, I mean, I got a flash sale on Southwest Airlines. It was like $49 a flight, so call it $200 in change for the flights, and then I had to pay resort fees for 4 nights in a best suite I've ever stayed in Vegas. It was a total of I think $120. So we're looking at about $330. I got 4 nights in a suite.
I just,
and then everywhere we go to dinner, you get points for all of that.
I constantly.
If you go to a Caesars property, you know how much screwed.
Do you know how much money I spent at MGM with my kids there? Probably give any idea how much money we spent in Vegas. I told you, I've been on benders that lasted 3 days. I spent a fraction on those trips.
So if you
don't eat,
if you go to brunch or something downstairs in your hotel, charge it to your room.
Oh.
Because then it goes right to your account and you get those points.
But I got to go sign up for this card and present my card and all.
Less than 5 minutes.
It's easy.
You get my driver's license.
Absolutely.
You get a card. Easy. I think I've got. Just keep it right here.
For what I spent in Vegas, they should give me a floor of room, like a floor.
They might actually. They actually might if you let them track it.
I went and looked at my credit card bills after that trip. I'm like, how did this happen? I didn't gamble at all. I did actually. I put like a $20. I was waiting on my buddy Jack to come down and say hello. I put a $20 bill in a slot machine. I lost it. I was done.
Okay, so you take that card that they give you.
Put it
when
in.
you sit down, there's a slot. You put it in, and it says "Welcome, Paul," and it shows you your points.
But what I'm saying is, I spent an ungodly amount of money. I gambled for 30 seconds, $20. But the money I spent at the restaurants, all the other stuff, I could have gotten a whole.
That $200 meal at Johnny Rockets could have been right on your points.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Ronnie Jockets.
Like Ronnie Jockets. We upgraded to the suite again at the Cosmo, but when I was looking at the comps when we were booking this a couple months ago, I mean, I could have stayed for like 2 weeks at New York or something.
I'm taking the month of August off.
I'm just going to be in Vegas next month.
God, I'm the worst. I am the absolute worst. Money just flying out of my wallet.
I think you guys talked about Brandon asked in the chat if I have to pay for my luggage now on Southwest. I think you guys talked about that when I was sick last week. That was like the major outroar across the country.
Yeah, paying for luggage.
From what I saw, that was for flights booked like starting like June 1 or something.
We're getting close, but we're not there yet.
Your wife just said in the chat we could move into Luxor.
Yeah, I could own the Luxor.
The friggin' Reindl suite at the Luxor, which a hard pass on that. Benny was texting us yesterday. He was out at lunch with his boys. And you ran across, this is typically something that happens to me.
Well, you know me, I'm always looking for a good deal, and my boys like it as well. So we go lunch special, $12. We go to a Himalayan Kitchen in Encinitas. Really good. It's Indian food, but it's really good. I know it's not your favorite, but you get a bowl of soup. You get 2 choices of entrees and a big basket of their non-bread. $12 lunch special. Can't beat it. Nice people who run the place. So we go there, once a month or so. And I had lunch with my 2 boys. So we go into the restaurant. It's Monday, so it's not crowded. And I only really see one other person as we're walking in. So they put us down at the booth. Now, he is by himself on the booth on the other side of the partition.
Yeah.
So I can't really see him.
You just hear him.
But I hear him. And he is talking loudly, I believe, on his Bluetooth phone. He's having he has a very announcer deep voice, and he is projecting loudly this conversation. And I can't help but overhear. I'm not normally a nosy eavesdropper, but there's no choice.
Can't avoid it.
His voice is booming throughout the whole restaurant.
That's not eavesdropping. That's just sitting at a restaurant. Somebody's talking.
It's existing.
So what I gleaned, he was an older guy wearing a New York Giants hat, and I gleaned that he is a comedian with like a one-man show, and he was like pitching it
Oh my God.
to some sort of talent scout or agent. And he was actually doing like his routine.
No way.
During lunch, just sitting at his own booth, having his lunch at his table, and going through his whole act. Like, yeah, kids today, they really organized with all their data and PDAs and everything, but they're also really lazy. I mean, I see kids today, they actually schedule when they're getting high, like 7 o'clock tonight, smoke weed. It's like he's going through his entire
Ganja, aka cannabis.
his entire act, and he's just going on for like even. And then and then he's trying to schedule. I'll see you at the Seinfeld show that's coming up next. Later this month. I think Jerry's coming and doing
so.
Jim Gaffigan at one of the casinos in town. So he's like talking about. I don't know if he knows him or not, or he's just has tickets and he's going and he's talking and talking. Finally, he's wrapping up. He's gone on for like 10 minutes. I'm going. We're literally the only other 3 people in the restaurant at this point. You have just absolutely been the entire show.
Part of the show.
I thought at some point he'll realize we're right here and like quiet it down a little. No. This is how he ends his conversation with whoever he's talking to. You want to hear the most racist joke I know?
Oh my God. Jesus. Oh no.
Then of course he tells it just as loud.
How bad was it?
Pretty bad.
All right, turn the mics off. Turn the mics up.
Yeah, I don't like this. Oh my God. Oh my.
He said this out loud in public.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was wild. I mean, it was absolutely
I'm
wild.
still mad, even without that last joke.
Yeah. Right.
I'm still mad that because you told us about this. You texted us as it was happening, and me and Woods both within seconds are like, get audio. Get audio. I'll do anything. Get audio.
I started kind of recording. My son goes, I think that's illegal in California. He goes,
True.
He goes, you're probably right. I shouldn't just record his phone conversation, at least his side of his phone conversation without his knowledge and approval.
Now, I said get him on. I said talk to him and leave him your number and have him on the show to have him do his bit. If you're listening, sir, you have an open platform. Anytime you want. Well, actually, now that I've heard, that was before I knew he was in the KKK.
His name was Kim or Tom or something.
Just relax. Let's not dox him either.
I don't know his last name.
Get suspended here, but oh my gosh. Marissa says it's legal if it's in a public place. I don't know if that's true.
Could you not like pretend you were recording something else and it just if you happen to hear
well,
him?
It's true. I mean, you can just be recording your own conversation.
That's
if he
true.
happens to be so loud that he bleeds over into yours.
Like, you're not going to
that's his
believe
fault.
what it sounded
Well, it
like
is
when
legal.
Ben was eating lunch yesterday.
I recorded the guy at the supermarket that's saying, it's a shame.
Yeah,
That's
that's
true. I recorded him.
All right, that's not illegal.
All right.
I guess if you're on the other end of the phone conversation, not telling the person
that's true.
recording,
That's true.
that's illegal. But just doing it in public, they're talking in public. It's on them.
So, did you get a sense of where he left it?
I'm not sure.
With the
exactly.
I can't believe he did his whole act.
Yeah, he was just going through the act. Like, this is how I sell myself.
Was it besides that terrible joke that
he said he'd been in the business, 35 years or something, been doing this for a long time.
And he's at a Himalayan kitchen on
he
a
said,
Monday.
you know me, I'm cheap. I like a good deal. So here I am.
It's like your spirit
Yes,
animal. Bad jokes and cheap meals. It's like your total spirit animal. Was any of his stuff any good? Because the schedule to smoke weed is one of the worst bits I've ever heard.
Not really.
Didn't sound
not
great.
good.
Not really.
Man,
I didn't do an out loud guffaw.
Oh,
at least
all
while
right.
I was
Well,
sitting
then
there.
nothing. You didn't get tickled at all, especially that last one.
No.
Jeez, I don't know if you can tell that one on stage, buddy.
I wouldn't.
No,
I wouldn't.
So that was my lunch yesterday.
That's more exciting than mine. I'll tell you that.
Got my points though for
for Himalayan. You have comps there too.
Well, I mean, pretty much everywhere has a loyalty club now.
It bugs me. I think maybe that's why I don't do it all the time. I think it bothers me, but then I like to complain about it when I don't get free sweets at the Cosmo for a month. So, who's the dummy now? All right.
We need a contestant for Take on Woods. If you'd like to join us and qualify for our grand prize drawing to Las Vegas, maybe you'll see Paulie there.
You probably will, actually,
during this week. You can
Only
take
around
on
my
Wo-
beloved Memorial Day.
Take on Woods in our musical trivia contest. 833
Memorial Gras.
288-0973, 833-288-0973. Well, we'll play our game coming up next. UV Tier 1 for a chance to go to Las Vegas.
Got my ass kicked yesterday, too.
You did. You did. We'll see how you do. So you can call in now. Right now, though, I'll tell you about Prize Picks. I jumped the gun a little bit earlier, but hey, we had baseball on this morning. I think baseball is the best way to play Prize Picks because it's every night, and you can set lineups from players on different teams, whether you're watching Fernando Tatis Jr. or Manny Machado. Hey, more or less than 1.5 total bases, or Luis Arias, more or less than 1.5 hits. You can set your own lineup with Prize Picks. All you have to do is log on to the app. Very easy to download. And when you do, make sure you use our code KWFN. You're going to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. So $50 free when you play your first $5 lineup by using the code KWFN at Prize Picks. After that, you're just setting lineups between 2 and 6 players together. If you win, you can win big, up to 1,000 times your cash, running your game all baseball season long on Prize Picks. It's easy to upload and download cash, Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard. If you're depositing and withdrawals, I have won. I have taken money out. It comes back to me very quickly. Within about 15 minutes, I see it right back into my account. So 10 million users, very reputable, doing this in 30 or more states now. It's legal here in California. All you have to do is sign up. Again, go to the website, prizepicks.com. Download the app today at Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for more details.
Adam just came in and said, well, I can't believe you bought the MLB package. We have a station one that you can use. First I've heard of it.
We got all three of us.
All three.
Since
Excuse
when?
me? Since when? Oh, we've had it for years. Well, why haven't I ever been told about it? I just dropped $150.
I didn't know about that either, actually.
Nobody did. Oh, everyone knows. Everyone uses it. Everyone but us.
And then he said he's going to buy us the MLS package as well.
Already
We've
bought it.
Paid for that too.
$230 right there, back in my pocket. It's cool, man. Just made of money. It's no big deal. It's fine.
You have the loyalty card though, so you can get buy 5 MLB packages, get the next one free.
I mean, he said we've had it for 3 years. We've been here for 6 years. I've never heard that.
I've used yours.
Yeah,
we'll go in the next morning sometimes.
We'll get
some
clips.
sound from
Yeah.
a game that happened or whatever.
God, dude.
I didn't know. Yeah, it's news to me.
3 years, he said we've had it. Swear to God.
You got the inklings of a Padres trade possibility.
What?
That I want to bring up.
Oh, is this
at
a
some
fake
point.
trade?
It's not a fake trade. It's a real idea.
Well, hold on. Is it a rumor or is this a Ben?
This is my own.
All right.
My own idea.
Love these.
Maybe we can discuss it. Sam Levitt's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. And we are confirmed for the head coach, Steve Fisher, the architect of the San Diego State basketball program, going to join us here on First Four Tuesday, coming up at 9 o'clock this morning to talk about SDSU hoops. So that's all coming up in just a couple of minutes. Right now, though, it's time for today's game of Take on Woods. All right. Is this David?
Speaking. Good morning.
David, welcome to Take on Woods. How are you doing this morning?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. All right. Woods has left the studio, so you're going to go head-to-head. 5 questions of musical trivia. If you beat or tie him, we'll put you into our grand prize monthly drawing for 2 tickets to Alanis Morissette at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace, 2-night stay at the Flamingo Hotel and Casino, and a $100 gas card. Go to Ticketmaster.com to get your own tickets. We will give you the advantage of picking the category. Here are your choices. We've got This Ends Tonight, 5 song titles ending the word tonight. The End Is Now, 1970s edition, song titles ending with the word now, all from the 70s. And our new category today, right answers only, all song titles that begin with the word right. So This Ends Tonight, The End Is Now, or right answers only, David?
How about right answers only?
Right answers only. I hope you, for your sake, you give right answers only in our category of song titles that begin with the word right. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5 as possible. If you don't know one, you can say pass. We'll come back to it at the end if there is time. First question is the 2-second song. Paulie's going to play the music. You need to give me the song title and the artist to score that point. David, are you ready to play?
Let's play.
All right, let's put 60 seconds on the clock. Again, the category is right answers only. Song titles beginning with the word right. David, your time begins when Paul plays our music. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
Right now, Van Halen.
Correct. Following up Baker Street, Jerry Rafferty sings It's Been You, Woman, in which song that became his second most successful hit in 1978?
Pass.
Which 2010 top 10 hit by rapper Lil Wayne also served as the theme song for the show HBO's Ballers?
Pass.
The British alt-rock band Jesus Jones had their biggest international hit with which 1990 historically minded song?
Right here, right now.
Correct. Barbara Streisand turned down which Richard Marx written song in 1988, so he recorded it himself. That became his most enduring classic love song.
Pass.
Right. Following up Baker Street, Jerry Rafferty sings It's Been You, Woman, in which song that became his second most successful hit in 1978?
Right here.
Incorrect. Which 2010 top 10 hit by rapper Lil Wayne also serves as the theme song for the HBO TV series Ballers?
Pass.
All right, well, we got 2. We got Right Now by Van Halen and Right Here, Right Now, Jesus Jones. The answers you didn't get. Right Down the Line by Jerry Rafferty. Right Above It by Lil Wayne. And Right Here Waiting by Richard Marx. I think, hang on the line, David. I think Woods is good for at least 3 or 4 here, but I was surprised yesterday. All right, David is locked in with his score. Woods returns. Doesn't know the category. Makes it definitely tougher. 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on David.
Right Now by Van Halen.
Correct. Following up Baker Street, Jerry Rafferty sings It's Been You, Woman, in which song that became his second
Right
most
down the line.
correct, which 2010 top 10 hit by rapper Lil Wayne, also served as the theme song for the HBO TV series Ballers.
Right On.
Incorrect. The British alt-rock band Jesus Jones had their biggest...
Right Here, Right Now.
Correct. Barbara Streisand turned down which Richard Marx written song in 1988, so he recorded it himself. It became his most enduring classic love song.
Right Here, Waiting for
Correct.
You.
4 out of 5, and that is a 4-2 win. I correctly said 3 or 4 for Woods on this one.
Yeah.
Right above it is the one both of
Right
you
above it.
could not get, and then you got here Right Here Waiting, and right down the line, one of my favorites.
Mine
by
too.
Jerry Rafferty.
It's Been You, Woman. Right down the line. Why does he do that? Jerry, why did you do that in your
Woman.
song?
It's the word.
It's
woman.
been you, woman, right? But he says, woman,
Woman.
woman. It's a jam, though.
I do like that one.
2 really good songs from him. Like, really.
And after that, not much.
It's all right.
Hey, you got the 2.
You got the 2, dude.
It's better than most.
Man.
All right.
Feels
Let's
good to win.
Let's take a timeout because when we come back, we'll head out to Peoria, Arizona. Be joined by Sammy Levitt. We might have some time for some of that Gavin Sheath sound from the Gwynn and Chris program yesterday. And we'll give away those Padres tickets I've been promising to the series against the Cleveland Guardians and Jackson Merrill bobblehead night. That's all coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
Well, first, I want to tell you guys about the wonders that have occurred in my life because of QC Kinetics. As I leave here today, we'll be off to the gym where my trainer will absolutely beat me senseless and make me lift very heavy weights. I couldn't do it, man, a couple of years ago at all. Couldn't lift 5 pounds. My wrists were they felt like they were shattered. I had no idea what was going on. I was very panicked about it. Went to QC Kinetics. I was skeptical when I walked in. I was skeptical after the first treatment, right? But I went back, kept going back. Got 5 treatments on each wrist. My wrists are so strong, good to go. Look, it's been a total game changer in my life. If you're walking around with pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, your back, other joints, trouble sleeping, trouble walking, if you're missing out on walking and golfing and jogging and lifting weights, playing baseball, whatever it is that you love to do, you're a great candidate. All right. Call them today, 619-614-PAIN. They got 2 locations, one in Torrey Hills, one in Hillcrest. You'll get a free consultation, learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can get you lasting pain relief, just like it did for me, with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. 619-614-PAIN. They are QC Kinetics, and they are fantastic. 619-614-PAIN. Let them know Woodsy sent you.
Don't forget, you can join 97.3 The Fan at Dave & Buster's in Mission Valley this Friday as we broadcast live all day long in celebration of the biggest college hoops tournament of the year. We're going to kick things off with our show at 6 a.m., followed by Braden and Gwen and Chris. Then wrapping up the day with a Scraby show at 6. There's going to be a breakfast burrito station, drink specials on mimosas, Bloody Marys, and beer throughout the day. If you want to combine them together, you can have a Bloody Beer, Woods, and a basketball shooting competition, hourly raffle giveaways. Join us at Dave & Buster's, 2931 Camino del Rio North, next Friday for a full day of fun with your favorite.
Hey, you like a Bloody Beer, Jerry?
Combine them together for a Bloody Beer. I'm gonna pass.
They have all the ingredients, obviously.
I am absolutely
make a Bloody Mary, and you can have a beer. You can have your Bloody Beer.
Hey, you like a Bloody Beer, Jerry?
Beer and tomato juice.
Beer and tomato juice.
Got a Michelada.
It's delicious.
All right. I told you I had a trade possibility. Let's bring in Sam Levitz from the Peoria Sports Complex. Would not be a blockbuster trade. This is the kind of trade you actually see quite often at the end of spring training, when one organization has a need and another organization has a glut and a player that they might lose on waivers, that they're out of options. So, Sammy, good morning. How are you?
Hi, guys. Good morning.
Good morning. So I saw yesterday that the Tigers sent Jace Young down to the minors, and they are pretty thin at third base. He was like their leading candidate.
Manny Machado, to the Tigers.
No, I was thinking more like
Eggy Rosario
to the Tigers. Just to pick up a AA, some minor league prospect. You don't want to give away Eggy for nothing if you don't have to, but it's looking less and less likely, Sam, that he's got a spot on this roster, considering the competition we were talking about yesterday for those last spots.
Yeah, I think it's one of the real hard decisions the Padres are going to have to make is what to do with Eggy. And look, Tyler Wade is in the same boat, another guy that is out of options. Those two guys are out of options. So there are some pretty serious consequences if you don't put them on the opening day roster. And Ben, I tend to agree with you. I think, if they don't think that Eggy's going to be on there, then I think that certainly opens up that possibility. I don't think it's a crazy idea at all to look for teams that need a guy who can play third, who can play second, who can maybe play some outfield, whatever they might need, however Eggy might fit, and think that might be a possible trade scenario. But I do think it's going to be one of the more fascinating parts of this whole situation here in Peoria, where there are so many guys playing well. There are so many tough decisions to make. If I'm the Padres, I would hate to lose Eggy. I really would. I at least know Eggy can hit left-handed pitching. I know Eggy can play multiple defensive positions, and it would hurt, I think, out of all these guys to lose Eggy Rosario, because I do think he's got some things that you really, really like, and I think he's somebody the Padres, like quite a bit. So we're going to see, but I don't think it's a crazy idea, Ben, and it's another interesting little element in this whole conversation.
My prediction, he'll be traded, but somehow end up back with the Padres in a year or two anyway.
That's a good point.
That's what AJ Preller does.
Sammy, I remain. I said it last week. I think we were talking to you. I said I still feel a trade is coming. Now it could be something of the level of an Eggy Rosario type move, but there's a couple other guys that are making a strong case, and of course we spent our morning yesterday really in shock that Yuli Gurriel is going to make this roster. Of course, goes out, hits a bomb, drives in 4. Tells us all to shove it. Great. I do it do it for 162. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming when it happened. I texted our pal Jesse Agler. I just said, LOL, my friend. Because I had talked to Jesse and I said, I'm a little surprised by this. He said, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. They think that he can be, potentially this year's Donovan Solano, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And, hey, listen, if it works out great, I'm always happy to look like a fool. I am really surprised, though, that this spring training has gone down without one single trade. Nothing. I mean, AJ Preller, the wheeler and dealer, deals from a position of surplus, and a lot of times, sometimes doesn't deal from
the whole offseason, right?
It's just been dead.
Has he made a single trade since the season ended? I don't think so.
He did acquire Ron Marinaccio.
Ron Marinaccio.
Right. There you go.
Yep. So, I mean, I'm really surprised.
Did he do one for a player for player? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
That was a cash for player, right?
So.
That's not a trade. That's buying a player.
That's buying a player. It's wild to me, Sammy, and I'm sure it's not for a lack of trying. I'm sure he's been working the phones. And again, if you're looking and you see you've got some potential guys, Oscar Gonzalez, who does nothing but just catch barrels, Sammy. We could lose him, and that would feel like a blow too.
Absolutely. Yeah, it certainly feels like there are going to be potentially multiple deserving people that are left off this roster. I told you yesterday I was not surprised about the Hayward thing at all. I was a little bit more surprised about what Kevin Acee had to say about Yuli Gurriel, but look, that's kind of been their track record as a front office, as an organization, that they will give opportunities to veteran established players and see what they have. And I think, some of this may just come down to who's out of options and who isn't. Again, it's an interesting part of the Wade situation, an interesting part of the Eggy situation. Connor Joe has options. I mean, I know it would sound crazy for Connor Joe to sign a major league deal and show up here and potentially, not make the opening day roster, but he is a guy who has options. So, look, I think there is part of it where it may just come down to decisions like that, like who has options, who doesn't. I think it's one of the many, many factors that plays into this whole thing. So, look, I'm not shocked at the Gurriel part of this. I'm not. I don't think he gives you a ton of versatility defensively, obviously. Like, he's going to play some first base and he's going to DH. So I do think you lose a little bit of that with him on the roster. But it wouldn't shock me for the Padres to want to see what they have in a Gurriel before they make a further decision. Because, look, the reality is that if somebody like that is on your opening day roster and the first month and a half, 2 months just isn't going well, and it's a la Matt Carpenter, it's a la Nelson Cruz, you can always move on. Now, of course, if you put them on the opening day roster, you may be, limiting yourself what you can do with some of these guys that are out of options. And, I also think the other part of this that it is interesting and should be talked about is look, obviously I think these are collaborative decisions in that front office and with that coaching staff, but you just never know what those conversations are like, in the sense of, from a baseball ops standpoint, a front office standpoint, a kind of, baseball-y type part of it, like, would it make more sense to put this guy on instead of this veteran 40-year-old? Probably. But you may have people in that room, banging the table and saying, no, we want this guy. We want to see what he is, and he's going to be important for such and such reason, and we need to give him a shot at the start of the year. And I think that's something that, may be hard to swallow from like a baseball standpoint, from a spring training performance standpoint, but I do think is something that is probably a real thing that happens.
Sammy, let's talk about the pitching competition for the final starter's job again. We've talked about it many times, but getting a little clarity. Matt Waldron, he's out for now, so he may see some time in the big leagues, but not at the start of the season. So it's down to Kyle Hart, who you talked to after his last start. It's Randy Vasquez, who's kind of bounced back, and I want to hear more about that in the backfields since he struggled in some Cactus League outings. And then tonight, big night for Stephen Kolek, back on the mound against the Giants in Scottsdale. Will we have more clarity, perhaps, after this evening?
I don't know. I don't know if clarity is the right word. We're coming down the stretch here. Look, I'll go through them one by one. Stephen Kolek, it's a big night for him on the road. I would assume against a good Giants lineup for a night game in Scottsdale. It's a big night for him. And Stephen Kolek has been really good, whether it's been on the backfields, whether it's been in the Cactus League games. It's been really impressive, and he's got a real shot to take this fifth starter spot. But I think the other two guys are really in the mix. I mean, Kyle Hart, I thought, looked pretty good the other day. He ran into some trouble, got out of some innings, said, he bit a little bit finer. It's probably even a deeper outing and a better line. And certainly he thinks that he's going to be built up to the point where, first turn through the rotation, he'll be able to give the Padres what they need. And then, look, if you were looking for Mike Schilt or for anybody there, it's basically kind of move away from Randy Vasquez and sound different about Randy Vasquez. That's not the sense I get at all. I mean, I've heard about this AAA outing, these 5 scoreless innings that Randy has that put together a handful of days ago. I've heard about him like 5 times. Okay, so clearly it made an impact. And look, again, when these things, again, I think it's a similar conversation when you talk about some of the position player battles. Like, they know what Randy is, right? And will there be an argument to go with kind of what you know rather than really what you don't in Hart and Kolek and starting at the major league level? It would not shock me if the Padres decided for at least the start of the year that Randy's going to make a start every fifth day. It would not shock me. Look, I think there's very interesting questions to see what they do with the rest of this staff with no Hoeing and no Reynolds and and now Johnny Brito dealing with forearm discomfort, tightness, whatever they called it. Look, I'm kind of fascinated to see what those final two spots in the bullpen are going to look like too. And I know this is not rotation related, but it kind of is if they want to take a Hart or a Kolek and potentially put them there, because right now, as far as the 6 guys that you think are for sure in that bullpen, I don't know. Like, those guys are going to be your quote unquote mop up guys. And especially the early part of the year where guys aren't built all the way up. Like, if you have a starter that struggles early on and goes 3+ innings, I kind of am wondering, okay, well, who comes in to get some bulk?
Yeah, no
right?
doubt.
And Ron Marinaccio the other day pitched 2 innings. Juan Nunez, who is a Rule 5 selection, pitched 2 innings the other day. Like, is it out of the possibility that one of those guys could be asked to go multiple innings? Heck, I was even looking at the box score from the game in Tempe the other day. They got Logan Gillespie going 3 innings in relief the other day. I'm just saying, like, that's something I would be thinking about. Like, hey, don't we need like one guy who can at least eat up some innings early in the year? I know they have the off days, but that's a bit of a fascinating part of this with the 5th starter spot and the final 2 bullpen spots. But I do think, back to your original question, Kolek, Hart, and Vasquez are very, very much still in the mix, and it's a big night for Stephen Kolek.
Well, we always like to put everything in a neat little box, right? And say, oh, this is my 7th, this is my 8th, this is my 9th. We all know, though, the way that baseball is run today, it's going to be fluid. And that's one thing we can count on. It's going to be fluid. I asked Ruben last year, I said, how long does it take you till you kind of get a sense? He goes, about a month. It takes about a month. And after a month, you kind of know, all right, this is where we need him. He's a high leverage guy. He's a low leverage guy. Now, I did feel like some guys got a little longer leashes last year in high leverage. That's going to happen too. But it's going to be fluid. I mean, if you see Ron Marinaccio as a long guy in April, doesn't mean he's going to be there in June. You know what I mean? He could be the 8th inning guy for all you know. It just depends on who separates himself. Think about Jeremiah Estrada last year. Jeremiah Estrada was like, try to get him some work when we can. And then it was like, Jesus, this guy could close for us.
And think about Wandy Peralta.
Yeah,
he was like the 8th inning guy to start the year. And then
it was like, let's get this guy some work at some point in the blowout. But it's going to be fluid. I can't panic too much about it right now. I do feel like I can panic a little bit about the left field situation and about the catching situation. I've been panicked about it. I feel like I can continue to panic about that, Sammy.
Yeah, I think the catching one in particular is pretty tough. Look, what is Elias Diaz going to be offensively? I don't know. I mean, I think it'll hopefully be better than what it's been so far in spring. And again, it's one of those things, I'm not going to overreact to what you see in spring.
I mean, Manny's batting $150 right now in spring. I'm not too worried about him, because I kind of know what it's going to look like at the end.
Correct. I mean, look, Martin Maldonado hasn't shown you any big signs in spring that he's going to, jump his batting average 100 points this year. Campy had the home run yesterday, albeit late in the game, in what was the longest spring training game in history after the invention of the pitch clock. I don't know. I mean, would it be shocking to me if Maldonado's on this team? It wouldn't. Again, is it one of those situations a la, a Gurriel, where, hey, let's run with it to start the year and let's see kind of what we got? I mean, it could be. Campy does have options. So we'll see, but it's not like any of those guys have stood out. And I think that's what makes it really hard. And then I keep on thinking about how much defense has been valued in all these conversations about catcher. And I think to myself, well, if you're like just settling on, hey, we may not get a lot offensively at a catcher unless Campy really, really steps forward offensively, then, is the decision just, hey, let's see what we got in Maldonado and Campy will start the year at AAA? I think it's possible. So we'll see. But to me, Woodsy, that's like the tough one is like, man, are you just kind of content with, hey, defense is what we're getting at catcher the best we can, and offensively it's going to be what it is. So we'll see.
Sam, we got to let you go. Have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, Sam Levitt. We're going to check traffic, and then when we come back from traffic, we're going to give away those Padres tickets next here on 97.3 The Fan.
855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury. Here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Humboldt Casino. Still a few things that might get in your way. A bit crash clearing on northbound 805 before Imperial. Also traveling on westbound 52 right to the south 805 connector ramp. There is a stalled truck in the center divide in the North County. Northbound side of the 5, just past the 76. There is a collision over the right shoulder and an accident over the right shoulder on South 15, just past Felicita. Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego with the all-new Humboldt Casino Resort, where you can play your heart out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. Opening this summer, Humboldt Casino Resort, the player's place. Learn more at HumboldtCasino.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, exercise those dialing fingers now and call for a pair of tickets for the Padres Guardians game on March 31st. Third caller is going to win. The first 40,000 fans in attendance will receive a Jackson Merrill bobblehead. You can get your own tickets now at padres.com/tickets. That's the first game following the opening series against the Braves on that Monday against the Cleveland Guardians.
Bro, that's a hot ticket. I mean, a hot ticket. A Merrill bobblehead, his first. I mean, that thing's gonna be insane.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the first series against the Braves is going to be packed.
Oh, yeah.
And then with that game on Monday against the Guardians being Jackson Merrill bobblehead, that's a 5 for 5 to start the season with big attendance numbers
Big
for
time.
the Padres.
Yep.
Thursday opening day will be, sold out. And then you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Braves. Those will be packed. Then a Monday bobblehead night. Wow, you're going to get off to a great start attendance-wise if you're the Padres through the first 5 games of 2025.
Yes, sir.
All right, I see people calling in. Paulie will pick up a winner during our top of the hour break. And then when we come back, we will be joined by the legendary Steve Fisher, kind of our March tradition with the Aztecs heading to March Madness. We'll talk with Coach Fisher about Dutch's team and their chances against North Carolina today. We'll also have our biggest fan name announcement when we come back as well. So stay tuned for all of that as Ben & Woods continues on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, busy final hour. Paul is getting Coach Fisher set up. While he does that, I'm going to announce today's biggest fan. Now, keep in mind, because we have the phone lines full at the moment, Coach Fisher will be on. If you call in, just stay on hold. It'll keep ringing. We'll get you after we speak with Coach Fisher. But we'll see you're calling in time. You have 10 minutes to qualify for our grand prize drawing. 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Last chance is here to register your name at 97.3 thefansd.com/biggest fan. But right now, our biggest fan is Jeff Nolan from San Diego. So, Jeff, you are on the clock for 10 minutes. But again, can't answer the phone until probably after we talk to Coach Fisher. So just be patient.
So everybody else is calling for baseball tickets. Hang up.
Yeah, we gave away the baseball tickets already. So you hang up. 833-288-0973. Jeff will clear the lines for you if you want to call in now. But at the moment, we'll go out and be joined by the architect of the San Diego State basketball program. That same program headed to its 5th straight NCAA tournament with the first 4 game today in Dayton, Ohio. The legendary Coach Steve Fisher is back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Coach, I love this time of year, and gosh, it's so great to have the Aztecs back in the tournament again.
It certainly is, and we were all holding our breath on Sunday, and the nice thing about it was we found out early that we were going to get in, and I've been on both sides of it, and it's no fun when you're like West Virginia or Boise State and you don't get selected. It's heartbreaking, but we're excited, anxious, and I can't wait to watch as we tip it off against North Carolina.
It should be a fun one. I mean, and really the entire country, Coach, is talking about North Carolina and you know, they don't deserve to be in. It should be these guys or this team. You know, from your perspective, they're in, right? They got in through no fault of their own. They're in, and now the entire country is kind of rooting against them. How dangerous can a team like that be?
Well, they're good. They're very talented. North Carolina is always talented. Their resume speaks for itself. 1 quad win out of 13, I think, 1-12. So probably they shouldn't have gotten in, but they are talented enough to where they could get to the Sweet 16. I agree with some of these people that are talking. They will be like us. They've heard all the noise, and they will want to prove that they belong. So it should be interesting. They're a little bit atypical of what I think of with North Carolina. They don't have those big 6'11", 7-footers in the middle that they can throw the ball to and rely on that. But they're typical North Carolina. If you don't get back on defense, they're going to run you out of the gym. They really run. So we have to do a great job with that. They're guard dominated. R.J. Davis is their most important player. And so we've got to come out and play like the Aztecs can play and play hard. And I think we'll have a great opportunity.
So, Coach, what are the challenges of finding out who you're going to play on a Sunday afternoon and then having to play that game half the country over on Tuesday? Because I know you play back-to-back games in conference tournaments, but you've already seen those teams many times. You have your assistants scout potential opponents when you know, hey, we're either going to be this guy or this guy, and you'll have different scouts. You can't scout every team in the country. So this is a unique situation. And I saw Dutch say yesterday, he was asked that question. He goes, I've been to Final Fours as a head coach and an assistant in national championships and many, many NCAA tournaments. I've never done this. I don't really know what the first 4 is like. What do you see as the challenges facing Dutch and the coaching staff here?
Well, I would say one thing. I've been to Dayton, and it's a basketball city. I think that they will put a lot of people in the stands. And I think the good news for us is everybody's going to cheer for us unless we're wearing Carolina blue. I think we're going to be the team that picks up all the neutrals, and I've been on both sides of that also. So what happens, it's not like the old days. The old days, you couldn't get film on people. Now, when we saw Carolina pop up, we've got a lot of coaches, and immediately we must have had 15, 20 tapes on Carolina that they divvied up and who's going to take what. And so they were hard at it Sunday right after the selection to start getting a feel for a game plan. It's obviously a short turnaround when you find out on Sunday and you have to play on Tuesday. We traveled yesterday and they had a crazy mandatory open practice. So Dutch is great at juggling all the craziness and not letting it be an issue. I think if you're calm at the top, the players will be calm, and that's what we've got. So we'll be ready to play. Carolina will be also. So I think it'll be a great game.
Talking to the great Steve Fisher here on Ben and Woods this morning. And, Coach, I tell my little leaguers this, and I was told it growing up. Sometimes hits aren't there, but you can help your team with the glove, right? And if you can't help your team with the glove or the hits, you can help your team by being a great teammate. All of these things. And I look at a player he's my absolute favorite player on the team, Miles Byrd, who has been so good defensively. How important do you think it is? When you're talking to Bird before a game like this, is it, all right, Miles, we need you to score more buckets, or is it you just keep doing what you're doing, being a force defensively, and if the buckets come, they come?
I think what you do is, as best you can, you treat it like it's your next game, and you can't go out of the box in terms of trying to do things that you've not done before or trying to do too much. I think that will impact you in a negative way. And I think if you just go out with the opinion that you're going to play for others with what you do offensively, that will allow you to settle into a game quicker rather than saying, I got to hunt my shot and I have to do this, I have to do that. You just go out and play. And Miles he's a very cerebral basketball player. I think sometimes Miles takes too many chances, but he can play, and he's an exceptional defender where you think he's not going to be there and he gets a deflection or a steal.
Yep.
We're going to need him to score some too. I mean, he's good. We've been challenged at times to score, so he's going to have to score, but he can't hunt his shot. He just when it's there, he's got to take it, and then he's got to make it.
So you don't want Miles Byrd just being a good teammate, right? he needs to continue to do his thing, and he needs to put some in the basket because we know he's capable of it. I mean, it's he's a marvel, man. He really has it in him to be one of the best in college basketball. He's that good.
He's a wonderful player. He's made immense improvement, and I'm anxious to watch him play. I think all of us are anxious to see what's going to happen with Magoon. Is he going to be able to play? And I think they're cautiously optimistic that he's going to have an opportunity to play some. And what will that be like after having missed about 6 games and 3 weeks or whatever it's been since he was hurt? But obviously we need someone. We need him. And if he can play and play effectively, it will obviously enhance greatly our opportunity.
Coach, I just wanted to ask you about Magoon. How difficult is it, maybe from your point of view, from a coach's point of view? What are those conversations like with a difference maker like him who wants to play? He's a kid. He's an athlete. He wants to play. But I got to imagine those are challenging conversations on testing themselves, their strength, their endurance after missing 3 weeks. What are those conversations like when there is no tomorrow for the team, but you also got to do what's best for the player?
I think that's what Coach Dutcher and his staff and the doctors have done. They err on the side of caution. You don't want to put him out there when he's not ready, and they haven't done that. So with him being cleared for practice, I think they feel he's ready to play. Now, how will he be mentally when he gets out there? Will he be a little bit nervous about the knee? Hopefully not. If he just goes out and relaxes and plays, then he'll have a chance. I mean, he's had a first year season for us that has had ups and downs. But when he was playing towards the end of the season, he was a huge difference maker and took us from where we were up another 2 levels with his ability to block shots and defend in the post, and then he became a scorer. So if he can play and give us even 15, 20 minutes, it would be sensational for us.
Talking to Coach Steve Fisher here with Men and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. And, the ultimate goal is winning Well, 6 times winning the national championship, but even tougher for a first 4 team because you have to win 7 times to win a national championship. Sounds almost impossible, but are there any potential advantages in terms of if you do win tonight of getting your feet wet and maybe some of the nerves out of the way, making Friday's game against Ole Miss a little bit easier for the team?
Maybe. We would much rather be playing on Friday or Thursday or Friday. But I remember when they instituted the games in Dayton, and initially it was just a 1 game with the 2 lowest seeded teams. And then in, I believe 2011 is when they played the format that we have now. And lo and behold, VCU, Shaka Smart, they were where we were. They were in the first 4, and they got to the final 4. UCLA in 2021 were in the first 4 and got to the final 4. So it's happened, and every year since 2019, with the exception of 2019, since they instituted this new format in 2011, that one of those teams has won at least 1 game. So I think that whoever wins our game between North Carolina and ourselves will have a great opportunity against a very good Ole Miss team. So how much of an advantage to play in, I don't know that would be significant, to be honest with you.
All right, before you go, Coach, Woods is going to give me the eye roll, but I got to ask the one tough question. Who are you cheering for, UCSD or Michigan?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually. You just put Coach Fisher right on the spot here, dude. God, Coach, I apologize for him.
I'm long gone from the University of Michigan.
All right.
I had a great experience there with many friends and a lot of years. And Dusty Baker has done a great job. Juwan Howard played for me, and he got let go after last season. I cheer for people. I have great regard for what Eric Olin has done at UCSD. You talk about a National Coach of the Year candidate, and he should be up there in terms of the conversation. I think it's going to be a great game, and I won't give you who I'm pulling for, but I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching.
I tried. It's going to be a great game.
I will tell you this. I called and left messages for both coaches.
Of course you did.
Congratulating them and wishing them good luck.
You're a gentleman as always, and I am not. I'm sorry about that, Coach.
It feels like a win. It actually feels like a win-win. You know, when you root for people, it feels like a win-win.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you,
Coach.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it as always. Good luck to the Aztecs. Dutch tonight. We'll be rooting for them, and hopefully we can do this again next week as they get ready for the Sweet 16.
That would be fantastic. And I've told you this before. I have a routine where at least 3, sometimes 4 days a week, I take little grandson Max to school, and I've got you on. So I'm a regular. I'm a listener. I have great regard for all of you. You do a spectacular job highlighting sports and life, and so you're fun to listen to, and I appreciate what you do for all of us.
It makes me. It kills me every time, Coach. I think about you and your grandson, sweet angels,
we
driving
make a
to
promo
school
out of that every time he comes on.
Every time he comes on, but
again.
I hope we haven't taught Max anything he shouldn't be learning yet, Coach. So we do apologize, and we love you and thank you.
He listens intently. He does listen.
The great best. Coach Steve Fisher,
the
as
best
always,
of all
so
time.
Fantastic. Love that we get to talk to him. Tournament time. And he's not taking sides. UCSD against Michigan.
Good question. I thought you were asking some dumb thing about altitude or something. I'm like, oh no, God, here we go. Coach, what do you think about run differential?
I thought it might be kind of tricky for him.
I mean, it was a great question
because he loves all of the local teams. He's so supportive
He's
of
the best.
all of the programs in town, but got those longtime Michigan ties, and we got an interesting game on Thursday night between the two.
I like what he said, though. Hey, John Howard played for me, and they let him go last year, and I root for people. I
thought maybe he was going to go to UCSD, but he didn't go that far.
Okay.
He didn't want to offend anybody. He's a gentleman.
He's very loyal.
You know that. He also absolutely, I saw, could read books on tape. He's very soothing.
I love his voice, man. It just gets me. He
that
always puts me in a good mood.
Secrets to coaching as well. If you're in the huddle And it's tense. And then he comes out and, he's got that voice. It just feels like it calms you down a little bit.
He has a very calming, soothing way about it.
Oh, he's got the red ass.
Oh, I'm sure you get it. I'm sure you get that too.
Seeing that on the sideline.
No, absolutely. Yeah. There's no basketball coach in the world.
It almost stings more.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It does. Like when I'm yelling at my kids, it means nothing at this point. It just over their head. They're like, "Oh, look who's upset again," right? Like, but if you're cool and calm, like if Ben yelled at me ever, I would lose it. I would be like,
Can you imagine how bad you'd feel if Coach Fisher was disappointed?
Oh, it would be terrible
in you.
I'd cry. I absolutely would cry. I would be so upset.
I am so disappointed.
It would end me.
Like arrow to the heart.
Yeah, it would end me. It would end me.
That's why you always worry when you hear about his grandchildren, listening.
Yeah, about all
then
of
you feel like
your S&M stuff, all your bondage stuff.
In us. Like, I don't want him to be disappointed in us.
Yeah, all your perverse behavior.
Yeah.
Gosh, dude, you got to remember, man. Coach Fish and Little Max are listening, and stop talking about all your ball gags and all your other stuff that you're into.
So,
what are you guys called again? Rope bunnies? Yeah, I mean, how's that go? Both of you creeps.
6:10 tonight, Aztecs against UNC. And remember, he reminded VCU and UCLA both made the Final Four out of the first four. So it's not just a fluke. It's happened a couple of times in the last 14 years. So it's definitely possible to get on a run, even if you have to play that extra game to get there. 5 wins to get to the Final Four instead of 4 wins to get to the Final Four.
Paulie, think about little Max running into school saying cannabis, aka ganja, just running around in school.
Ganja, aka
cannabis.
Ganja,
aka cannabis, or hot beef, maybe.
That reminds me, you can still vote beef in our tournament of drops. Elite 8, get down to the Final Four. Check our social media channels for that.
Grandpa Fish, what's a Delilah?
What's a Delilah?
Oh. 6:10 tonight on True TV. The Aztecs and the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Let's go.
All right, we will come back. I want to still get to that Gavin Sheets interview that Gwen and Chris were able to do yesterday, as he is getting closer to winning one of the final spots in the Padres roster. We'll get to that coming up, and our Roundel Report still ahead as well. First, though, let me tell you about SDFatLoss.com. I was just noticing, it's 2 years ago, I went on a golf trip, and I was getting real tired playing golf, and I realized I need to do something, lose some weight, and I did. About a couple months later, I found out about the SDFatLoss.com program, went through my 2 months, and lost 40 pounds in 60 days following their simple proprietary strategies, eating foods from the grocery store, steak, chicken, vegetables, and I lost weight fast. You can lose up to a pound of fat per day and 10 to 20% of your body weight in time for summer. Bathing suits, shorts, T-shirt season is right around the corner here in San Diego. And by then, you can already be done with the program. I loved it. Just go and set up your free consultation at SDFatLoss.com. Do it today. Take advantage of their spring special. Get $200 off. And then they'll help you keep the weight off as well. I've kept the weight off since those 2 years, almost up now. I've kept every single pound off because it is a sustainable, real way to lose weight. It's not injections. It's not hormones or drugs. There's no shakes or bars or mixes to buy. You don't even need to exercise to lose the weight. You can do it. I did it. Please follow me. Follow all the tier ones who've lost thousands of pounds. And go to SDFatLoss.com today to schedule your free consultation at SDFatLoss.com. Results may vary. All right, thanks again to Coach Steve Fisher. Giving the Aztecs some love as we get ready for tonight's first 4 game. Don't forget, you can tune in to Gwynn and Chris this afternoon, a second straight day, live from the Peoria Sports Complex, and they will have their show from 2 to 6. Had a bunch of interviews yesterday. Some of the guys we had already talked to, a little update from how they've been going on spring training, but they also talked to one guy that we did not speak to at camp, Gavin Sheets. Now, when we talked to Gavin Sheets, didn't feel like he was making much of an impact. I mean, when we didn't talk to Gavin Sheets, when we were there, it didn't feel like he was making much of an impact. He was there, but
hit a really big home run like first week or whatever, like a huge, like 450 footer or something, just raw power, and then kind of cooled off a little bit. And by the time we left, as soon as we got back, he started tearing the cover off.
Anyone can run into 1 or even 2. 6, though, is a trend.
Yeah,
6 home runs and hitting the ball hard consistently. So they had a chance to talk to Gavin Sheets, and they asked him about that slow start to spring training, trying to make an impression and make this team.
Come in and you want numbers right away. You want to make a team right away, and it's a different spot than I've been in the last couple of years. Yeah. And so, you start to press a little bit, but at the same time, it's like you want to dive into these guys. You want to see their ideas. You still want to work on stuff. You know that in the long run, when everything clicks and you make these changes, everything's going to, in the long run, it's going to benefit you. And so it's kind of that fine line of like, man, I had a great, from 8 to 12 o'clock today, my work was unbelievable. And then you go and you roll over 1 at bat, and you're like, just don't make it a big thing. Don't panic. Don't panic. Like,
it's so hard to do,
it's
though.
So
right?
hard. It's like, man, I had 4 hours of unbelievable. I had 100 swings today that were really good, and then my 1 at bat today, I rolled over. I punched down. It's like, how do you not go back and change everything? But no, I stuck with it, and just stuck with these guys and loved what they were doing, and then obviously you start to see some results and start to be like, all right, this is why I was buying in.
It's the best. That is the best.
Good answer.
It's a great answer. And if you've ever played at any level, it's exactly how it goes. Just like golf as well. Oh man, should have seen me on the range. I was striping. Oh my God, couldn't miss. Wedges are
the first tee.
Wedges or dial. Guys, I'm telling you, I figure something out in my swing. And you get out there, you put in the greatest work of your life. You take a lesson, whatever, and then you get out there, and it's just.
One other note there, if you're watching on our YouTube stream, his arms are
they
bursting out of his pullover?
Oh,
I mean, that guy is strong. That guy has look at his arms. Well, it's looking on our YouTube stream coming up here. He is absolutely jacked.
What?
He doesn't like in his face. He doesn't look like he's like a huge guy, but his arms.
Really digging yourself into a weird hole here.
Sorry,
that's all right.
I was just vamping a second because
you're
like
a baseball player to me.
You're not on our live. I don't know. It just looks strong. And then we have one other bite from Gavin Sheets. What kind of opportunity did he think he was going to be getting with the Padres? Given that there's so many players competing for so few jobs, did he really think he was being given a chance to make this club?
Promised to me, nor did I expect anything to be promised. I didn't want any false promises or anything like that, but what was promises was a chance to compete. And I wasn't afraid of competition. I wanted to come in and be a part of a winning franchise. I watched what they did last year. I know the talent that they have here. I know the superstars they have here, and for me it was coming in and fitting in and being a guy to add some depth.
It's the catch-22, because I think every ball player like Gavin Sheets or Connor Joe wants to play for a good team. That's, you get the opportunity to go to maybe the playoffs or even win a World Series. It's also, when you're a player who's not an established star, harder to make a good team's roster because they got more players and less spots. I mean, for Connor Joe, making a Pittsburgh Pirates team,
Colorado
Rockies team is not the same as making the San Diego Padres roster. For Gavin Sheets, could have signed somewhere else. That he had probably an easier path to the big leagues.
Was he released by the White Sox? And that's the other thing you think of too, is like you're in an organization that is, look, it's been a dumpster fire, and it doesn't look like it's really going to get much better. And I think there's probably something that messes with you a little bit. You're like, I just got cut by the worst team in baseball. What's my value here? But fresh start, change of scenery. That's real stuff, man. That's not radio host speak. That's a real thing. Different philosophies, whatever. And I think that's a really refreshing perspective from him.
So good stuff from Gavin Sheets with Gwen and Chris. They'll have more interviews for you this afternoon from the Peoria Sports Complex. Just got a note, Major League Baseball. They've announced pretty much all of the pitching matchups for opening day next week, with a couple of exceptions, still a couple of TBDs on this list. But I always like playing the fun game. I mean, we got the Padres, obviously. Michael King was named yesterday against Chris Sale, 110 Pacific. I always like to play the game. Who's the worst opening day starter in Major League Baseball? There's a couple of candidates. You pointed out last year, like Garrett Crochet.
I laughed.
Was the opening day starter for the White Sox.
I laughed. I'm like, oh, they're converting this reliever. He's going to be a starter. Okay, good luck, White Sox. I mean, look at the year Garrett Crochet.
He will be the opening day starter for the Boston Red Sox against Nathan Eovaldi of the Texas Rangers. Let's see. We got some good matchups here. Hunter Green against Logan Webb, Cincinnati against San Francisco. Sandy Alcantara versus Paul Skeens.
Nasty dude.
Marlins against the Pirates. Let's see. Logan Gilbert against Luis Severino. Seattle against Athletics. Kyle Freeland is the starter for the Rockies. Probably, I mean, he gives the Padres trouble.
He will go 7-0 against us this year with a 1.32 ERA.
This year, the White Sox are going with Sean Burke. He's one of their up-and-comers, right? Burke. Sonny Gray has had a really bad spring. He's the opening day starter for the Cardinals still, but he has gotten beat up. He goes up against Pablo Lopez of the Minnesota Twins in an interleague game on opening day. Carlos Rodon is the Yankees opening day starter against Freddie Peralta of the Brewers.
Yeah, decent matchup.
The Arizona Diamondbacks haven't named their opening day starter.
It's Corbin Burns.
I would think.
What are they doing? It's Corbin Burns.
I mean,
or it's Zach Gallen. One of the two.
Zach Gallen,
they could do the old A.
Hey, he's been here
longer.
Our guy. He's our guy. So I think that's. And then the Cubs have also not named their opening day starter for that game, although technically it'll be their third game. Dodgers also haven't named who's going to face Tarek Skubal of the Tigers for their stateside opener.
That's a nasty order, man. That would be probably Snell. They have. I thought they said it was Snell. I saw it was going to be
says
Snell.
TBD here.
I
They're
thought
not just going to go back to Yamamoto.
No, I thought
the Padres last year did the same too. They just
I saw that it was Blake Snell starting the stateside opener.
All right. Well, I've got TBD according to the tweet I saw this morning. So
I'm going to hammer the Tigers that day.
Really? Yeah. If it's against Blake Snell.
Oh yeah. Tarek Skubal also. Yeah. Hammering the Tigers.
The one loss for the Dodgers.
Yeah, the one loss. 161-1. Tarek Skubal got him in the third game of the year for them.
All right. Paulie's got some headlines with the Roundel Report coming up in our final segment. Anything you'd like to tease for us, Paulie?
We got a release date for a movie that a couple of us will be excited for.
I saw, and there's a I think there's a trailer out as well.
Yes, trailer is out.
I'm looking forward to actually this, because I have now seen the original, and now I'm actually looking forward to the sequel. We'll get to that coming up next. Final segment of Ben and Woods ahead on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, play at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
First, though, I'm going to talk to the high stakes card players out there. I know there's a few of them, tier ones in our audience, who like to play cards and don't mind doing so at a little higher level. 7 Mile Casino wants you to know that they are a great place to play for a high level poker or California style blackjack. If that's your thing, they're going to take care of you at 7 Mile Casino.
Yeah, no question about it. We love really everything there is to love about 7 Mile Casino. It's a smoke-free environment. It's bright, it's airy. It doesn't feel like a dingy card room when you walk in. Their staff is so friendly, so professional, always eager to serve. The food is top-notch, phenomenal. Great place for lunch, great place for dinner, great place to watch a game. All of it, man. And best part, it's just 7 minutes from downtown, just off the 5 on Bay Boulevard in Chula Vista. It's great.
Yeah, check a beautiful day today. It would be a great day to have lunch out on the patio. Look over San Diego Bay, over to Coronado. Just a really nice spot. And again, don't have to spend all your time in the car. If you want to play high-limit card games, don't be in the car. Be at 7 Mile Casino. It's just 7 minutes from downtown.
Sorry about that, Benny. Trying to help you out, actually. I just doxed Ben in our YouTube chat. So whatever you do, don't go back in the chat. Look for the email address that I posted and send him.
This is not helping by drawing more
Zach,
attention.
I did get your Take on Woods category suggestions. Thank you for your submission.
Yeah.
I get those from time to time. I enjoy
Weed
them.
through them?
I do. They're some of them are perfect. Some of them need a little editing.
Yeah.
Some of them I've already done the category before, but I always
Are some of them
appreciate-
terrible?
I've never gotten a really bad
Good.
one. Some of them I think are too hard
Right.
for at least our game. Like really esoteric, which is like you might get some of them. I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like I don't know the quality of the contestant, and just like the odds of the listener getting 0 with that one seemed really high. So that's why I reject an occasional category suggestion, just because I think it might be too difficult for a tier 1.
Next time you get a real one that you think's too esoteric, bring it in and test me anyway. I want to
Cool.
see how I do.
All right.
Yeah.
I will do so.
Cool. And
All
I'll play for a listener. And if I win, if I
that'd be fun,
get
yeah.
a certain number or whatever, we can
Maybe
help
on a
the
day
listener.
we have an extra prize
Yeah.
to give away. You can play for a listener.
Yeah.
To give away something with one of the extra tough games
100%.
that I occasionally
Got to get 3
for
out
tier
of 5.
ones.
Yeah, something like that.
Perfect. All right, we got to check traffic, and then when we come back, Paulie's going to give us some Rindle Report headlines to get us to the end of the show here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Some accidents on the coastline, northbound 5, one clearing up just past the 76 and southbound side of the 5 before Birmingham. A collision has been moved over to the left shoulder up ahead before the racetrack. Another collision. This one has been moved over the right shoulder, but we're getting reports of a bumper in lanes to watch out for. Also, northbound side of the 805, right before 43rd, there's a collision involving car and a big rig. It's got the slow lane blocked. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. It usually only takes 15 minutes or less, plus get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right. All right. It's the Rindle Report brought to you by the Craft Taco. Whether you're craving tacos for lunch or a craft beer for happy hour, the Craft Taco is the answer. Now open in Balboa Park and Sorrento Valley. Let's see, gentlemen. We will start off. How about the NCAA here? So a lot of people maybe not knew that this was going on. There was a settlement that happened yesterday with the NIL landscape that's ever changing in college sports, but the NCAA has agreed to drop a rule that they previously had in place that was prohibiting athletes from negotiating terms of their name, image, and likeness, and all the payments that come with that until after they enroll in school. That's how it used to be. You had to enroll in the school first and then negotiate your NIL.
But you're not going to enroll in the school unless you know they're not rolling the dice going, oh, I hope
that's the
Notre
thing.
Dame has some money for me.
It's
crapped out.
It's the NBA players signing $300 million contracts at 12:01 kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like technically this is just how it works. So the NCAA was going up against a group of state attorneys general who were suing the NCAA last year, claiming that putting those restrictions on the NIL negotiations for players violated federal antitrust law and blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get too legal here. So the NCAA has dropped that. So now if you are a high school athlete,
highest bidder,
it's open season officially.
Yeah, it's catch-22 because the NCAA, and I mean, I can see why they wanted to prevent schools and booster collectives.
They tried to control it
from just offering guys
give you $1
money
million to come here.
We'll give you $1 million to come here.
But it
And they
was
said,
already happening.
well, that's why they were trying to stop it. That's why they put the rule in. Like, okay, we'll
Even
have
with the
NIL,
rule,
but let's have. They did, yeah, but
You're telling me nobody negotiated a deal before they enrolled in the
Correct.
schools? Come on.
Sweet kid.
no, I think it was going to be a new rule.
Oh, they were going to.
They were going to implement the rule,
and then they
with the
banged it.
settlement.
I thought it was already in place and they dropped
I
it.
don't know that it has been in place. If it has, then you're right. It has been completely unenforceable.
Correct.
And now it just doesn't exist at
Yeah, it
all.
says, the rule was designed to try to keep schools and booster collectives from using NIL deals as a recruiting incentive for incoming high school athletes. But come on. And unless you've been living under a rock, that has been happening.
It's pretty interesting too. I mean,
It was happening in the 80s.
There's something they could do. There's something that they could do to a contract of some sort, right? We have a contract here. We're being paid to work here. We signed a contract. I cannot today walk in and go, hey, I'm done here. I'm going across the street and I'm going to do radio there. I can't do it, right? I have to stay till the end of my deal or whatever we agree to, and I'm under contract. They could do something in basketball, football, whatever, where if I sign on the dotted line to be a wide receiver at San Diego State University and they give me $75,000 for year one, I have to stay. Or 2 year. We'll give you a 2 year $75,000.
I think we're dangerously close to contracts.
Correct.
And,
But isn't that
professors are state employees. I think college athletes are about to become state employees.
Isn't that better than I played a year here? They paid me $250,000. I had a really good year. Now so-and-so wants to pay me $280,000. I'm going to go there.
I just don't know that it'll be allowed. I mean, the courts will say, no, you can't lock them in. They have the transfer portal and they can put themselves up for bid again.
Their contract's up next year. They can enter the transfer portal.
Every time
then.
there's a transfer portal, essentially you're a free agent again.
Crazy, man.
And I just don't think that's good for college sports.
I don't think it's hard.
The NIL
man.
money's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
but
coach it like
the
Dominic
unlimited
says.
transferring anywhere you want
It's
to go,
tough, dude.
is more. It's more freedom than you even get, as you said, as a professional athlete.
Correct. Correct.
Like, how is it possible that we've swung so far that now college athletes have way more freedom to sign as free agents than professional athletes have? When you're a pro, you're drafted, you're locked to your team for 6 years in baseball, and then only when your contract expires can you sign a free agent deal. Now in college, you can every year. You essentially can enter the transfer portal and start the NIL process all over again.
I was talking to a fellow Notre Dame fan this weekend at the Seals game. He does the broadcast, Nick Casello. He actually played there. And we were talking about it, and it's like, yeah, man, we were in the national championship game last year. The recruiting's not going as well as you would have hoped. We lost our recruiting coordinator to USC. He's doing a great job. Like, you start to get a little panicked, and then you're like, you can't fall in love with any of these players. But it's always been that way. It's always been that way for coaches, right? It's always been that way. Coaches could come and go whenever they please. Jake says, how many colleges did Woods go to? Why can't a college basketball player do the same? I went to like 5 colleges, but they didn't pay me to stay there. They weren't paying me for my services. In fact,
you were
I
actually
was
probably paying them.
Correct. But it is there's something's got to be done in the next few years. They're going to have to get a handle on it. Otherwise, it's the Wild
I feel
West.
like we're going to be dealing with this
For the rest of
something
our
like
lives,
this
yeah.
every year
Yeah.
for at least the next 10, 15, 20 years until they really dial it in. But
It's not great for schools like San Diego State, which
No.
will never
No.
have the same kind of money as Ohio State and Florida.
Jake says
and
technically
Alabama.
the colleges aren't paying the players. Okay, fine. I didn't have a booster team sending me to Texas Tech to get a 0.0.
But now they kind of are. I mean, now with the new agreement, it paves the way for up to, $20.5 million that the schools will directly be paying players out of that fund or whatever the school decides on.
For me, it's not. For me, it's not about tamping down the freedom of the college student. You know what it is for me? It's, oh my gosh, I'm so excited you've decided to come to my favorite school. I can't wait to root for you for more than a season. That's all it boils down to is like, I'm so glad you're here. We want you to play well here, and I want to root for you. I want my kids to root for you. You know what I mean? Imagine if Fernando Tatis Jr. every year could just opt out. The Athletics are like, hey, we have to spend some money. We're going to give you the most money. He's like, all right, I'm going to Sacramento. It's tough. It's tough. And I get it. I've always been an advocate for college players getting paid, especially since they profit so much from their name, image, and likeness. I have no problem with them getting paid. I think I just have a problem with the Wild West mentality of it. But, look, you can regulate it and make it fair and make it equitable for everybody.
All right, quickly before the movie news, catching up on some stories from the weekend still. I don't know how you guys didn't talk about this for like 4 straight hours. Joey Gallo related updates, related news. So Joey Gallo was released over the weekend. The White Sox, kind of forgot he was with the White Sox to begin with. He was granted his release, and then it wasn't about an hour later, he went on social media after he was released by the White Sox and said that, he's not retiring, he's not hanging him up or anything. In fact, he's going to be changing his game. He wants to become a pitcher now.
Okay, it's happened. We've seen it done before.
Where does Joey Gallo slot in the race for the Padres' 5th starter's job now?
He's like probably. Right now, today's probably 4th.
Okay,
yeah.
He's not on the Padres yet, but you feel like he's at 4. He's in 4th right now.
Could always use some pitching.
He's a big boy, dude. Imagine all the.
He's only 31. I thought maybe he was a little older. Feels like he's been around forever.
He has no professional experience on the mound. He did pitch in high school.
Yep.
So no hitter.
So did pretty much everybody who's in the big league.
That's
he touched. I think he touched 95 in high school. I mean, he's 6'11" or whatever he is.
Yeah,
give him a shot.
2 gold gloves.
6'5".
2 gold gloves as an outfielder, so he got an arm.
He's got a cannon on him, dude.
I always thought about I think one of the best arms I've ever seen in my life was Ichiro.
Oh my!
I mean,
God,
what could he do if he devoted himself to pitching?
God, dude.
What about Fernando?
If he devoted himself to pitching, what would that look like?
Well, listen, somebody tweeted, if you can't beat him, join him. And I couldn't have agreed with the sentiment more than he is literally one of the worst hitters on the planet. I mean,
I wasn't that hard to strike out. I could probably do that on the other side.
Yeah.
I could strike me out.
I could strike me out every single day. I'm pulling for Joey Gallo. I told you, I saw him in the airport that one time. He was alone and he looked really sad. And I like that. I like that there's another guy that's trying to do it this year. I can't remember who it is. Somebody, I think it's for the Guardians or something. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, man, this is something that if he could get a few more years playing baseball as a pitcher that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, you know how we feel about it. It's Joey Gallo.
Oh, it's Joey Gallo. Yeah, his hitting drop off is historic. BM just writes in. I'm pulling for him too.
I mean, you figure it's got to be at least a season or two transition before he can get to the big.
Yeah, he's not going to be pitcher. I doubt he makes the bigs this year.
No.
But I think somebody gives him a look. I got a spot from on the tier 1s. I'll give him a couple innings. There you go. If he wants. Joey, if you're listening, and I know you are, your biggest fans.
All right, then finally, yes, the trailer for Happy Gilmore 2 officially dropped this morning. It's going to be out on Netflix in July 25th, I believe was the date. Watch the trailer. It's about a minute and a half. Watch it during a commercial break. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Nervous, man.
I think sequels have kind of figured it out over the last 5 years or so.
They used to be money
grabs.
know
what they are now.
They used to just be money grabs for people who were desperate to see the characters again.
Yeah, they've they've found the right balance of the nostalgia and why you fell in love with the first movie. Like Top Gun 2 was unbelievable. It was really good.
It's like the only one. I feel like it's the only one. Jaws 2 was pretty good, but really for the most part. It's just a tough. When it comes to really good comedies, are really tough to do. The Dumb and Dumber scene was like, oh my god, this is the worst piece of garbage I've ever seen.
They're bringing everybody back. Christopher McDonald,
that's good.
Our buddy Shooter McGavin's there. Julie Bowen's in it as Virginia Venett.
Yep.
Ben Stiller is in it. He's got his appearance in the trailer.
My problem with sequels is they always do these throwbacks to the same jokes as the first one. No.
You do need new jokes.
Give me an update. You can just move on with your lives, like what's happy and all that.
Will Drew Carey be in it instead of Bob Barker?
Oh yeah, Bob Barker is no longer with us.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore is going to be on the senior tour.
That's the thing. So he's on the senior tour. If he ends up beating up Drew Carey or something, that's what I'm talking about when they do that was the funny joke in the original. Let's get new stuff and hopefully it's good.
But you bring back the same characters. Like they don't have to, you can do Happy Gilmore 2 without Ben Stiller.
Correct.
But
you can.
that's great, I think. Like
In a way,
they showed
though,
the trailer. He's like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Gilmore, good to see you there." And he
you can
turns
get
around.
right.
And goes,
You don't have
"Oh."
to reintroduce everybody. You get right into it. You actually have a little more to play with because you don't have to establish all your characters again.
Correct. I was thinking of the latest Beverly Hills Cop, and I was so excited for it to come out because I love Axel Foley. 1 was good, 1 was great, 2 was great, 3 was terrible. And then this last one they put out, it just made me want to die. I was so sad. I was so sad. Doing all the same jokes from the first one and the second one. It was just no good.
Different fruit in the tailpipe for each.
You're not going to fall for the
Sequel.
tangerine and the tailpipe. Come on, bro. Really? I just watched it last week. It still holds up. It's just a brilliant, brilliant film. But Adam Sandler movies on Netflix have not been great. So I'm just really hoping it's good.
All right. We will thank you, Paulie. We will be here tomorrow morning to break down the San Diego State UNC game.
Ooh, mama.
We'll also talk about Stephen Kolek's performance tonight against the Giants. That's a big one as well. So make sure you join us at 6 a.m. tomorrow for more Ben and Woods. Braden is coming up next for our executive producer, Paul Reindl, and Stephen Woods. I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Don't forget to vote in our tournament of drops. Talk to you later, everybody, right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long.